you know what? I don't want to stay here. It accepts pets, and it's pretty nice.
We're live, by the way. I'm sorry we are so
okay.
late. We were talking stuff in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. Let's
Talking
just
about
say though.
So welcome to GameHounds. Oh, not GameHounds news. Where did my banners? Oh
I
gosh,
want to say
they have a
like
new interface, and this new font's fucking me up.
it is surprisingly hard to find places in the Bay Area that accept pets.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
So like I found a good complex that likes pets. Everyone here is pet happy and crazy. I don't know if I'll ever leave.
Yeah.
Just hook me up with your job, Nick. That's all I ask. Just
Oh,
the little things.
I'll try. The only
I'll work
problem
from home
is
here.
Now,
the only problem is
ask me
the
what my
people
taxes are.
above me. The people above me, they don't want to pay for tech writers. That's why I had to wait for the person above me to retire. Whenever they've got money for a new hire, they want a software engineer.
Oh.
They don't want that. That's why I'm the only one, because they're like, he's cool. We got that covered.
Right.
He does the job.
So
well.
the guy above you doesn't like tech writers. So when he goes,
No, well, the guy above
then
me,
you
like,
can hire me.
like my boss is cool.
Right.
He's really great. I like
two
him.
above you.
Yeah, like two above me. He's more like, no, we need more engineers, more software engineers.
Right. So when he retires, your boss, you can go to your boss and say, look, we really need new tech writers. And then you can hire me.
Yeah, that might be more likely.
How you doing, Nick?
And honestly, I have no fucking clue when that guy will leave. He's one of those lifers.
Like you.
Well, yeah.
How old is he?
I have no idea.
Well,
but I know
right.
he's been there for a while.
So we're GameHounds podcast. We've been fucking around. We've been trying not to do the show by distracting ourselves from talking about other stuff.
Which, like, I don't know. Like, I've got a lot of happy things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not want to do the show? Is there like some like horrible news that happened this past week? I don't understand.
Some big thing that happened. Yeah. So
I just want to talk about games. We don't have to cover news.
Let's start the show. What do you say? And we got who's we got in the chat room? We got AC Wraith. Hey, you got Bitters. Yay, Bitters. Yeah, nothing to report. I'm sure you're probably wondering in the back of your head how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. Not good, but I'm doing. And next week is going to be a tough week. Next week, Kevin is being cremated. I have opted to actually go there and be there for it. That's going to be my brother did that for my mother. I always regretted I didn't do it. And then later on, I regretted it. So even though I kind of sort of don't want to do it now, I don't want to have the ruts. So,
yeah, you don't want to regret it later on.
Right. So next week, I could be a hot mess, like a whole lot of hot mess, but we'll see. That's on Thursday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We can still be here to take it over.
We got Goalie. By the way, Goalie. I have been sent such beautiful things, and don't tell anybody else. The favorite thing that I have got so far as a condolence gift was Goalie and Mrs. Goalie sent me a wind chime. And whenever I hear that ring, and I'll occasionally just be leaving with the dogs, and I'll hear it kind of ding, 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 and it's a little moment to remember him, and I absolutely love it. So tell Mrs. Goalie, thank you so much. And thank you to you. It means a lot. So can we start the show, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do it. Did I get everything right? Got everything right? Yep. All right. Let's do this. Oh, you know what I don't have? The description. Oops. It's like I haven't done this in a little while.
I'm just going to say this. People who don't you see our stream, but there's a lot of stuff around it in StreamYard, and it needs to have a dark mode. Just saying that out loud, like StreamYard needs a dark mode.
Yeah. You know what? The thing about the StreamYard guys, they will respond to shit like that. If you put it up on Twitter to say, "Hey, StreamYard, you need a dark mode," they will totally respond, and then they will probably do it.
I'm with you. I don't know. I've always liked the dark modes. White is just so bright. It's just kind of blinding.
I like white. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. There we go. All right, good. By the way, I put a mourning band on the GameHounds logo because I'm classy. All right, are we Republic? Yes. Okay, cancel that. And we're ready to go live?
Mm-hmm.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology. And these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 603. I think I wrote 602. It's 603. It is. I have no idea what just happened. I had my head down.
He said something over Discord.
Who did?
Andrew.
Are you using Discord in the background, by the way?
Just
Oh my god.
I set off a bomb.
just put that in general so everyone can see it.
Okay.
Oh god.
I
So anyway, it is episode 603. It is Sunday, July 25th, 2021. I'm Edie Sellers. We got Andrew and Nick here. And we got Gully in the chat room alive. If you're listening on the audio, you might want to hop over to Facebook or YouTube or to Twitch. On YouTube, we're GameHounds Vids. On Facebook and Twitch, we are the GameHounds. If you are watching on those places, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. One or the other or both. Best to do both. But yeah, if you can, give us a like right now. So what was that thing in Discord that you...
a truly unfortunate headline.
Yes. It is a meme, and I'll post it if you want to throw it up somewhere, Edie. It's in general, just so that you can find it quickly. But I knew that it would get a kick out of Nick, considering he writes and an editor, and I think you'll enjoy it too, Edie. But I also knew that he would laugh right as the episode was starting. So
see, I wasn't sure.
That's why you did it, just to fuck with me, right?
I didn't know if it'd be that funny, but
Writer, is it first hand or first hand? Editor, either one is fine.
Student gets first hand
job experience. That is one place where you wanted a very precisely located a dash, a hyphen, because it's not just adding the hyphen, it's making sure it's in the right spot.
But yes, that is all.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's it.
All
the
right.
importance of punctuation.
Yes. So, how are things with you guys?
Pretty good. I have been working and wanting to play Tarkov and playing Tarkov. That has been my week.
Oh, yeah. In fact, thank goodness you have been. You have been playing a lot of Tarkov, and I've been watching it. In fact, at one point I was streaming it on Discord, but you're playing it not on the GameHounds channel, but on your own channel.
Yeah.
You should play it on the GameHounds channel.
I may have to do that sometime. If anyone's interested in chat, let me know.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to watch, but it's also, the other half the time is you just organizing shit.
Uh-huh.
How did you describe it in your Twitch channel?
Oh, aggressively amateur inventory management sim.
It is. It is. It's 99% inventory management, and the rest of it is shooting people.
Yeah.
And what's crazy too is like, because I watched you stream it one night, and you said something along the lines of, you can put items in a backpack and then put that backpack in another pack. And so there are times when you come across stuff that you're like, let's take out a backpack, fill it, then put in another one to fill out. And it's just like all this moving stuff around.
Because, yeah, I mean, you have backpacks that are smaller than other backpacks because you need a certain amount of inventory space. And you could take that backpack and put it in the bigger one. So if you come across one, you throw everything into the small backpack, and then you throw that at the bigger backpack. And now you make it out with 2 backpacks. Win!
And then you've got to empty both those backpacks individually.
Well, just the one that's filled with stuff, because the other one's filled with backpacks, and I just shove that into my ever-increasing stack of backpacks that I have. Like, I literally have, like, 25 backpacks stacked inside of each other.
And they're all full.
Well, with another backpack, yeah. You can't put anything other than the backpack into it, other than the last backpack that's open.
Okay, so you've just got backpacks all the way down.
Yes.
Yes. And when you open it, it's like ka-choon, 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 ka-choon.
You double click and it's just
and then
black
there's like blink. There's like 3 items in it. It's like, oh, it's like one of those Russian dolls where you just keep opening it up and it's a smaller backpack inside until you actually get something that actually has something in it. But yeah, it is a lot of fun to watch. Not gonna lie, I totally enjoyed the amount of the stuff that I watched with you. It was sorry, I realized I need to move my camera. It was super fun to watch. Why all of a sudden did my screen just go dim? Oh, I know why. Sorry. It was a lot of fun to watch. I had a great time, especially when you got the night vision goggles. It was so much fun of you just owning the place.
Did you ever watch those, Nick? Were you in there when I had the night vision goggles?
Yes, I did see that. Like, you had a really good run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, night vision goggles makes all the difference in the world.
Well, in that particular map, I don't usually go outside of that map with night vision goggles. I totally could, but that map is small on purpose. It has a lot of combat. It's a lot of fun, but it has like the least valuable loot in it, so it's kind of a trade-off.
Right.
That being said, like systematically taking out all the lights, so that like halfway through the game when I'm making my rounds in the map and everything's just dark, it's amazing. It used to be much darker, by the way. They added certain lights that you can't destroy, and they added a shit ton more lights so that
because the night vision goggles, if everything was dark, then nobody would be able to do it without night vision.
I did so when you were watching one of the first games, because I ended up streaming like 11 hours the first time you watched. I streamed for a long time.
That long? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he streamed. Yeah, it was 9. Yes, when you did it for me, when I'm like, I need something to do because it was my first Saturday night alone, and I'm like, I need something to distract me. Yeah. So, yeah, he streamed for, was it 9 hours or 11 hours?
11.
We streamed for 11 hours.
I did it pretty much the entire day.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I know that was a challenge.
In one of the games, I don't take meds with me. You need meds to stop like bleeding and various injuries that you can occur in the game from a gunfight. And if you get like a light bleed, you slowly lose health till you die. And there are a ton of medical options that can fix that. But I didn't bring any of them because
yes, you just ran around. It's like, I need a bandage. Never found a bandage. You ended up dying.
Yes, in the middle of the woods, just all lonely, like kind of like
remember,
the last
and that was a shame because
was open. It was like, come on, baby, give me a bandage. And it's like herring, more croutons.
Yeah, and you had such a good run then. Like, you were going around killing everyone, and then you got wounded too much, and you just go out into the woods and bleed out. Like the warrior's death.
Yeah.
I had a similar situation happen last night where I like started to bleed, and I thought I threw away my bandages, but after I died, I realized that in this kit that you have, that like when you die, you get to keep these items. I had a health pack, so I bled to death even though I could have fixed it a long time ago.
And I got a real nice compliment from AC Wraith. He says, I didn't even realize Edie was streaming. I thought it was Andrew using the Discord account for some reason. No, that was me streaming him through Discord with my microphone up against the speaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was straight up like just so white trash, but it worked.
It was a lot of fun though. I'm happy you enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if you would. The only issue with streaming this game, I feel, is you need to be like on point. You have to be kind of engaged, and when you don't have a lot of people, that's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's so much of it is inventory management, and you can die so quickly between games, and with like a 3 to 5 minute wait time between matches.
Oh God, what you were preparing last night with your group, it took you 15 minutes to prepare for it, and it lasted 1 minute 57 seconds.
Just like my average date night. No, I'm just yes, we went into this really high loot area where like everyone's super decked out. First gunfight, we all die immediately.
It was, I'm down. Okay, 1 minute 57 seconds. You were almost the 2 minute man.
But this is pretty much all I've been playing like for the last week.
DJ has a good comment. He says, no wonder you never escape from Tarkov. You're bringing the whole place with you.
I am. It's true. And it's only gotten worse.
Watching it has been fun. I find that it scratches the same itch I get watching someone play a Souls game, just because it has that same kind of pacing where you need to go through something slowly, methodically. You know, okay, you can take a step forward, check your right, check your left, check straight ahead, check behind you.
Death is always on your shoulder.
Yeah, and just that slow, methodical approach to things. That scratches an itch that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you watched me, like, whenever I'm going through an area, I'm literally, like, checking left, checking right, and just making sure that nothing, that I'm not going to get snuck up on. Because more than once, I've been snuck up on. And this game gives me jump scares worse than a horror game. Like, there's nothing sneaking, and then just, like, someone's in a bush, and they open fire, and just,
Oh, yeah, that you don't even see. That you just like sneak, and then bam, and you're gone.
You're gone.
Yeah. Fun game. It's fun game. I recommend it if you want to feel like crap. Go for it.
Yeah, no, it is brutal, and it's a lot of fun to watch. If you are interested in it, I recommend you go on Twitch or somewhere and watch someone, preferably Andrew.
Oh yeah, me.
But if Andrew's not on or you don't find that stream, just watch anybody playing it first before you get in there. And you'll know immediately if this is something that you want to be like me and just sit on the sidelines and just observe, or if you want to actually go in. I know for a fact I want nothing to do with this game as far as actually playing it myself, but I will watch the shit out of this game.
I really wish like I was more into PC gaming, because I would play some of it, but it's just sort of outside my reach. But it looks like something I'd be into. Yep.
I did look it up. Apparently, I mean, this game's still in beta. They're still working on it, and it feels like one of those games that's always going to be in beta. But there might be
like
plans
Minecraft.
for this on consoles eventually.
I could see this being on consoles, but I think that there will be something lost simply because you can't have the inventory management. You couldn't possibly play at the level that you need to be playing in order to play this game.
Yeah, like
right. Well, on PC, on a console versus a PC.
Like one of the things that's frustrating to me that I don't know very well is the modding system in this game. You can mod weapons, and it's incredibly in depth. Like you need to go out and buy a mount. And you need to then buy a seating for the scope. Then you buy the scope. And then maybe you have other stuff that you can buy. But you have to buy like 3 or 4 pieces to make your scope so you can put it on the weapon.
Yeah, it's very similar to real life stuff. And I will say this, that you playing Tarkov today, I mean, the last couple of days, and especially last night, inspired me today to go out to the gun range, which is why I'm wearing my shooter gear. Is that's why I'm looked like the way I do, is because I actually went out to the gun range to shoot my rifle, because it is so realistic, especially in the construction where it's like, I have a scope. How do I put a scope on? You have to put the rail on. Then you have to put the scope on. It's flat out exactly what you got to do when you're putting a scope on a rail rifle. I'm surprised that it doesn't make you clean your weapons.
Well, they added
After a
a jamming. So in this newest update, they added a jamming system where you have a durability, and like if you pick up one of the weapons off of the AI units, it's like half durability, or like it's usually shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's shitty, you'll jam. And in the middle of a gunfight, it is the worst thing imaginable to have your gun jam.
If they have jamming and knowing the way that they think, they're gonna add cleaning.
That was one of the best things about Far Cry 2, is having your gun jam in the middle of a fight.
Yep.
Not in Tarkov, because that means you lose everything. There was
That's true. If it jams, like, there's no coming back from that.
There was this AI that I ran across, and I had my pistol. I pulled it out. I fired like 4 shots, and I ran out of ammo. So I switched to my shotgun. And thankfully, the AI was not smart in this case. I started shooting my shotgun, missed like twice, hit him once, and then it jammed. So I switched to my third weapon, and I nearly died because of it. Jamming sucks so much. But yeah, that is all.
Yeah, and the whole point is to get in, get stuff, get out. The killing is not as important, but it is necessary in order to survive.
But yeah, I'm glad, like I said.
AC Ray says sidelines for me. The inventory management alone would drive me insane. Yeah,
it does.
It is completely frustrating.
No, I find it funny, as someone who grew up like with Resident Evil, I think it's taught me to enjoy inventory management, because I've never found that part frustrating in any game. I've always liked do I want to keep this? Do I want to get rid of this? Let me mix things around to try to get everything to fit. The Tetrising of it.
It becomes, I was going to say, it becomes Tetris.
Yeah. And just real quick question: how's my stream? Because I realized I'm not wired into the router.
That's fine.
Good.
Okay.
Maybe it's learned its lesson.
Give it an hour.
One of the things that you have to do in this game is hit 20 to unlock the flea market, which is kind of a player-controlled auction house where people sell stuff on. And until you get to that point, you don't really have these items called cases, which are essentially boxes that hold more inventory than they take up. So like having an ammo box will have 40 spaces, but it'll only take up 40 squares. However, you can only shove ammunition in there, or magazines. Until you get those, like, your inventory's a mess. Like mine, Edie, you watched. If you have any sort of like OCD when it comes to inventory management, don't watch me. It will kill you. You want to yell at me.
It does bother me. I'm like, you should like put all the ammo together, put the clothing together. Like, you need to organize this.
We'll
shit.
spend 40 minutes and you do. You could easily spend 40 minutes to an hour in your inventory just shuffling stuff around.
Oh yeah, in the last hour of the 11-hour stream, it was just me like, I think I need to organize this. So for the next 40 minutes, it's just me like, still here, Edie? Yeah. Why? But just like when you clean your room after it's been dirty for a while, there's a sense of satisfaction looking at the nice, organized pile of junks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all. That's my Tarkov.
And I wonder if it might be easier to stream on Discord, just because that way other people, it'd be easier to join in voice chat, so that, if you're spending 40 minutes, it's not just you doing it. Like, you can actually converse with people instead of having like watch the chat and wait for that delay.
He does a pretty good job of talking through it.
Okay.
I found it, put it this way, I sat through it. It was not that bad.
I try to make it fun, but like the more people you have, the easier it is. And if you're playing in a Discord chat like that, you will have to mute the moment you go into a game. You cannot have people talking while you're playing this game.
That makes sense.
Because
It takes full concentration.
When you're walking through an area, you're listening for one footstep. If one person messes up and they're waiting for you and they like turn too fast, it'll make a noise and you're listening for that. So it makes you incredibly paranoid. So when you hear the wind blow too hard, you stop and you sit there for 5 minutes like, is anyone here?
Just imagine you really in that place with a real gun because they're gonna really kill you. That's the same feeling.
Like, is that heavy breathing from the chat or the game?
Right.
Wiggle, wiggle. Yes.
Wiggle, wiggle.
I did see some of the wiggle, wiggle, and it was adorable.
But it works.
Yeah.
You can also tell scabs to come with you when you're a scab if you have a high enough rank. However, if you don't, you'll be like, come with me. And they'll be like, fuck you. They'll literally flip you off or go.
Is that an emote?
Yes.
It's an emote for the NPC scabs.
And you can do it as
These
well.
are NPCs where you can go, come with me, and then they come on your team. Or they can go, fuck you, I'm not coming on your team. And then it's like, okay.
One of the greatest
Honestly,
videos...
that needs to be in more video games, that emote, because so much can get communicated with the middle finger.
Favorite Facebook video I've seen of this, and it's like 20 seconds, is a guy trying to get a scab AI to come with him, and he keeps going, no, and then he flips him off, and the scab flips him off and shoots him in the face.
No means no.
So yeah, Escape from Tarkov. It's
Fun stuff.
either 100% your cup of tea or absolutely not. There is no middle ground.
If you hate the idea of losing all of your stuff, do not play this game ever. It'll drive you nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be the one psychological damaging thing for me. But I've also noticed, like, I'll just say, I found watching your stream really fun because, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like, you're not a pro player. There are, you had really good runs where you're killing a lot of people, and then other runs where you minute. And like, I've watched people play Tarkov in other streams and like YouTubes before, and it was just like, I don't know, I'm watching a guy play Call of Duty because he's just going around shooting people, going around and meet someone else, shoot them, and it's this. I have found, like, with Twitch streamers, I think if they're too good at a game, there's a certain level of boringness that comes from that.
The tension goes away when you know that they have a good chance of winning that gunfight.
Yeah.
When you're watching me, it's a toss-up. You really do not know if I will live.
And like, I mean that like in a genuine way. Like, that actually makes everything way more entertaining because, when you have those good runs, they feel, like they feel that high and that earned. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird effect where, if someone's too good at something, it's like, well, this is just boring now. I want to watch something with tension.
Yeah, and I'm plenty tense when I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking if I ever want to get into more streaming, the way my desk is set up, like I have my like back to my patio area, but I could turn this, and right to my right is a little alcove where my desk kind of half sits. But if I sat there, I could totally put a green screen behind me and just like either like cut myself out completely, or if I'm just chilling, just like put a Tarkov map behind me or something like that. Like I'm sitting in the woods by a fire, whatever. But it might be worth putting
sitting in your luxury commode in your apartment.
Yeah, my hideout. Nick, you didn't see my hideout, but it is gorgeous, and it is $2,000 a month in California.
Oh God,
it's not good.
It is hideout. Yeah, no, it is a pit.
So there's a hideout that you build stuff up. Like you have to get a lot of your junk items and stuff, and you can get like better heating, better
toilet
lights,
instead of just having
toilets.
a bucket.
Wait, is this an actual place or is this still in Tarkov?
This is a Tarkov.
You need toilets?
Yeah, because it's basically your little hideout for your character when he's not in the game. It's where your stash is, and you can eventually upgrade it so you can get a Bitcoin farm, a
What?
a gun range. Yeah, you make Bitcoin farms, and they're kind of broken because they're also their value is tied to what actual Bitcoin is worth. So if Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin will go up in value, and vice versa.
This game, God, the developers, I
But
really
just
have
your
a lot.
hideout.
I
Yeah,
have a
So what
lot of
happens
respect for them.
if you don't have a toilet in your hideout? Like, is there a
you
bucket that fills up with?
it does it's decoration, but
Okay,
the
okay.
toilet is where you go to craft stuff. So whenever you're taking a dump, you'll
What?
like yes. So if you want to make like a backpack,
Yeah, I mean, I figure you gotta do something when you're on the pot, and I'm gonna
the level
tinker
1
with this.
toilet is literally just a dirty bucket that has a bunch of stains around it.
Jeez.
The level 2 is like an outhouse. But yeah, it's
Does like the
it's
level
not
5 toilet have a bidet?
it might. It might have never gotten there before, but yeah, I'll have to show you the hideout next time I'm in there.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
classy. Yeah, but it's good stuff. All right, we should move on from Tarkov.
Yeah. So next game.
Okay. I guess that's all you've been playing, right?
Oh, absolutely. That and League of Legends, but League of Legends doesn't count.
Okay. I've been playing actually quite a few things, just 3 games. More Octopath Traveler, obviously, and it's still really fun. And what is nice is that I have discovered moments when the characters actually do interact with each other. They're rare, and I'm sharing the screen now. Sometimes when you're in a character's story mission, when you're in a character story mission, that character is the one that's playable. Like they're walking around and everything. And sometimes after conversation, you'll get a prompt that's like, press a button to hear banter. And when you press that, you get transported to this almost like a stage-like area where 2 characters are kind of highlighted by spotlights. And they have a little exchange of dialogue about what's going on in that character's specific story. Excuse me. And they're not that common. They kind of just pop up every now and then, depending on who's in your party and whose story mission you're doing. And it's a nice little bit of interaction, some way that the game acknowledges, hey, there are other people going through this event with this character. But then as soon as it's over, you go back to the screen, and it's mainly just that character interacting with everyone else for their story. So like in this case, Primrose is the character story, the mission on. When you're walking around town, when you're talking to people, whenever story events are happening, it's only Primrose on the screen. And then like when you get into a fight or a dungeon, then like everyone else shows up. But so it's just I'm still really, really enjoying the game, and it's just a little tiny. Before I thought it took 0 steps with character interaction, and it turns out it takes 2 steps. So it's slightly improved from where I was last week.
But I mean, it feels like it still should be a lot more to it than that.
Oh yeah, I would hope that it did more, and it's unfortunate that it doesn't, but it's at least nice that it does a tiny little bit.
It reminds me of this game, and I don't know if anyone's into them or have played them, but it's like anime-esque RPG. It's called Tales of Vesperia, and the Tales series is very popular.
Oh yeah, I played some of those.
They have a massive focus on characters, and I've only really played Tales of Vesperia, but when you're going through the map, you will get prompts like the one in Octopath Travelers, where it'll pop up on the screen. If you press it, you can ignore it if you want. You'll get dialogue between the characters. And there's an emphasis on that game to like have your characters talking between each other. And it makes for an amazing experience to like see how these characters interact with each other. It's just like I said, it's a party foul. It's a shame that a game that's designed around what Octopath Traveler is, that it doesn't have more of that. That'll make you remember the game more than like the story.
Yeah. I find that because it's an RPG and just because of the way it's constructed, I find that my issue with that is kind of alleviated just because I come up with those interactions that the game doesn't. Just the fiction that you write in your head of, I'm at a crossroads and I have a character quest to the north and character quests to the west. What do I do? And I imagine the characters having a conversation like, okay, where do we go here? Where do we go there? Which do we do? And then mechanically, I want to go to the north because it's a lower level mission and I want to do that first. But I can imagine the other characters just being like, oh, no, my thing can wait. Let's go take care of your thing first. It's more important. And, having those conversations and that kind of creating the characters mechanically of, oh, I found a second, I got the ability to give a character a second class, basically. Who am I going to give it to? And I ended up giving it to the scholar character. And so now he's kind of developed into this scholar warrior. And in the game doesn't necessarily recognize that character's changed any, but to me, it's like, oh, okay, he's kind of going off into the world, and normally he was a very bookish dude, but now he's getting, real world experience with the sword and things like that. It's the way any RPG manages to build characters with the mechanics and the way that you kind of build them up skill wise. I find that is doing the heavy lifting of character development and party relationships that the game doesn't do. Like the mechanics and what I do internally, fan fiction wise, is kind of making up for what the game doesn't do.
Yeah, having your own fun with it.
Yeah. So then I moved on to a game that I had played. Oh wait, let me need to figure out how to share the screen. A game that I saw at PAX that I didn't realize it was coming out to Game Pass until I saw it on Game Pass. A game called Blood Roots, which is a very me type of game in that it's an action game. What you're playing has a guy just kind of going around an area trying to kill all the enemies, and you have one hit. Like you have 1 HP. The moment you get hit by any enemy, that's it, you're done, and you have to start that level over again. And so as a result, it's kind of Super Meat Boy-esque in that you're going through a level, picking up weapons, and each weapon has a different type of attack. You might have a saber that has you lunge forward. You might have wheels for a car that will bounce off someone and kind of ricochet. You'll have a ladder that you spin over your head and gives you a nice area of effect. You can pick up a hay bale and throw it at someone, and it knocks them down but doesn't hurt them. But if you set that hay bale on fire first and then throw it at someone, that'll set them on fire. And so a lot of the game is, replaying these levels, these really quick and short levels over and over again really quickly, and just kind of working out how do you make your way through this level, what weapons do you pick up, and how do you get through it as fast as possible. And it's a good one of those games. It's just fun, well done action. None of the levels feel overly long, and so if there are times when I fail, it's not like, oh, I've got to go all the way back to the start and do this. And it is kind of fun just seeing all the different varieties of weapons, because whenever you kill the last enemy in a level, you get like this little cutscene of how do you take them out. And depending on the weapon you have, you get a different little cutscene. And so sometimes axes are everywhere, so I've seen the axe cutscene a lot. Sabers are really effective, so I've seen that a lot. But what if I have a wheel? What if I have a ladder? And so every now and then, I kind of want to try to
get that last kill.
Yeah, get the last kill with a unique weapon, because I want to see what that cutscene is. And so just the fact that the game acknowledges that is pretty neat. And it's got a basic story. You're Mr. Wolf, and like in the beginning, you see your village gets all destroyed, and there are like 5 people who betrayed you. It's very Kill Bill, like the bride is hurt, and everyone else is like, yeah, you should have listened to, why did you betray us? You thought you could leave. And so she starts her revenge mission to go kill all the people that wronged her, and that's exactly what you're doing. So yeah, it's just a really fun, simple pick up and play game. There's not a lot to it, but it does what it does very, very well.
It looks fun. It looks like a perfect Game Pass game. Like, not necessarily that I'd pay money for, but something that, like, if it's on Game Pass, I would absolutely play this.
Yeah, and thankfully it is on Game Pass. And yeah, it's worth picking up just because, well, like checking out, just because it's
Yeah.
a cool action thing.
All right, next game.
And then I started playing this one on the Switch because I've been watching a lot of the Olympics, and unfortunately, I can't watch the Olympics and play like Octopath Traveler at the same time because I'm playing it on the Xbox. So I needed a Switch game. And so this is one that I picked up a while ago called Lost Horizon. It's an old school point and click adventure. This is actually the PC version that's on screen. But it's an old school point and click adventure that's kind of in the vein of Indiana Jones, in that there's this Tibetan monastery and everyone's trying to get there. And you've got some Nazis that are trying to figure out a way into this cavern in the monastery. And you play as a dishonorably discharged British soldier because you kind of were in charge when this massacre took place in Hong Kong. And so you become a smuggler, but you have friends in high places because you were in the military. And so you get asked to track down these scouts that got lost in the Tibetan area. And so in the first area, you're trying to find like Tibetan maps to help you. And of course, you team up with the niece of one of your friends. And so this guy and the girl, romancing the stone-esque relationship, go off on an adventure to Tibet. But it does a really good job of capturing that kind of, Indiana Jones globe-spanning adventuring, especially with the setting, the old school, 40s adventure. And I think what makes it work as a point-and-click adventure is specifically there's not too many items you can interact with at a time. And so when it gets time to solve a puzzle, the little logical leaps that the game kind of makes, that any old point-and-click adventure makes, it's easier for me to make those leaps because I don't have too many objects to interact with. It's like, oh, there's a ball and a cat. The cat needs the ball to move. How can I do that? And you kind of look around, and there's only a couple things on the screen you can interact with. There's only a couple items in my inventory I can interact with. So it's like, I got measuring tape. I'll try to use that in the ball. And oh, hey, turns out it works. What else can I do with this? And so it's very easy to just kind of use X with Y and kind of just make these weird decisions. And it turns out it works because there's not a lot to overwhelm you. And so even when the game presents you with a puzzle that kind of seems a little like it takes a leap of logic, I find that I can generally solve that without a walkthrough because I can make that leap of logic myself just because there's not too many to interact with. When I do get stuck, it's nice that the Switch version has a whole walkthrough in it already. You just open your journal, flick to the end, and there's a whole step-by-step, go to airport, pick up Bellows, go to here, use X with Y, pick up Z, use Z on F, go to the airport. And it's just step by step tells you exactly what you need to do in the order you need to do it, which is just absolutely nice. It feels like the game is very willing to it doesn't want to stump you. It's like, hey, here's a puzzle. If you can't get past it, we're just going to tell you what it is because we want you to go to the next step of this adventure story. And so far, I'm really liking the writing. I think it has managed to tell like a really good one of these stories. And I like that the main character is allowed to be, kind of that suave, smarmy smuggler character, but also like a genuine fuck up at times. Like the reason he was dishonorably discharged is because he genuinely made some terrible mistakes during this Hong Kong protest. But when the game reveals what happened, you can appreciate what he did. Like, he's a sympathetic character, but still like someone that made a bad decision in the heat of the moment. And I like that it does that. Like, it doesn't just try to make him a cliche. There's an impressive amount of depth to his character, considering that he kind of starts off as a cliche. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm a little worried because on the Switch home screen, there's the number 1. And I don't know if that means like this is the first episode of the series because it's the only one that's been released.
Well, AC Res said there's a sequel game, apparently.
Okay, there is a sequel. Okay, that's good to know. Because, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was trying to be an episodic type game, because when I looked at it on Switch a while ago, there wasn't like episode 2 or episode 3. And so I bought it, and I hope that this tells a whole story and that the sequel is just a sequel. But we'll see when I get to the end. And yeah, so far, I think it is a super solid adventure point-and-click game. Like, if you liked what was the Indiana Jones one? The Fate of Atlantis or any of the Broken Sword games, I think this is a wonderful continuation of those.
Awesome. I do want to... I have one more thing, because I thought that was it for games, but I did remember I played something that I felt would be fun and interesting to bring up. Before I do that, I do want to say, when I was talking about Blizzard, I said, like, that's not a game I would pay for, and I feel like I want to correct that a bit. It's a game that deserves money, but I am cheap. So when I buy games, I'm very particular about what I buy. So it's not something that I would buy, but it looked good, and it looked like if that's the kind of game you like, buy it. They deserve your money.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure Microsoft, like, we've generally heard good things about Game Pass, that like Microsoft compensates developers pretty well for that. Like, no one has come out complaining about having the game on Game Pass. So I think that that's good. And hey, if you just get your game out there in front of more people, that's also good. And yeah, Bloodroots is a super fun, action-y Super Meat Boy. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're just looking to like,
Kill people.
Slaughter your way through a level in a way that's kind of fun and cartoony, then Bloodroots is perfect.
Nice.
Excuse me.
It did look good. The last game I want to bring up is kind of unique. It's actually a Google game that they have available on their search engine right now, and it is called Doodle Champion Island, and it is in honor of the Olympics. And what it is it's a if you grew up in the early years of like the internet, and by early I mean like the mid 2000s, towards 2010, it plays kind of like a Flash game, where it's this 2D map and you control a sprite and you run around the map and you do little games and you're trying to complete all the challenges on this items and collect, or all the challenges and sports games on this island to collect scrolls. You play this cute little ninja cat character. All the games are like move the arrow keys and press the space bar. And it all plays from the Google browser. It's fun, it's cute. If you have a little bit of time to kill, it doesn't seem that long, but it seems like there was a decent amount of work put into it. And they have these all like unique animations and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I just kind of flicked to it and looked at it. That looks really neat.
Doodles games. What was the game that I made you do? It was for the jazz
rhythm game.
Yeah, it was for the what was the name of the jazz club in New York?
I don't remember what, but yeah, it was like a rhythm game played to like some famous jazz songs, and that was a really surprisingly good rhythm game.
Maybe it was the Lindy Hop. It was the celebration of the. No, it wasn't the Lindy Hop. It was maybe it was the Lindy Hop. Yes, it was a celebration of the invention of the Lindy Hop in New York. And it was real. The Google games, we take the doodles really for granted. We don't ever think about them, and even when they have games, we're like, I'm searching for something, I'm busy. A lot of them are very, very well done, and I'm really surprised that have not been submitted to things like GDC or other stuff as many, because they're little mini games. But that one that we did went on for a while, and it got increasingly hard. I mean, I never got to the end of it, but a lot of them, there's a lot of thought put into these.
Isn't GDC for like smaller game developers or no?
No, they have independent game. Well, I mean, yes, no, God, no. I mean,
Okay.
GDC is all game developers. I'm just really surprised that Google doesn't spend more time. And it is kind of funny because Google wanting to get into games more and, have a presence there. And they're already doing it, but nobody's noticing because it's on the front page of fucking Google.
Yeah, and like that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up. It's cute. It kills a little time. None of it's like too challenging or difficult, but it seems like there was a fair amount of work put into this.
Yeah.
They all put a lot of work into their games.
I mean, just the art to have to make all of this.
Yes. So if you're bored at work, it's on the browser. It takes nothing. Maybe you can do it on a work computer.
Yeah, that's what's great. Play this at work. If your boss comes in, just Alt Tab.
Googling.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking something up.
But yeah, wanted to throw this out there. I tried it. I didn't get all the way through, but felt a good shout out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there we go. Celebrating swing dancing at the Savoy Ballroom. That's it. The Savoy Ballroom. That was a good one. That was hard too.
Yeah, it got really hard.
It got real hard, real fast. We just don't notice them, and that is some of the best games that are being released for like little time wasters is on Google's front page.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, it's like feels like an old school Flash game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it. I just remembered that last minute, and I wanted to give it a shout out.
Any other games you want to talk about before we move on to news?
That's all I got.
No.
All right, let's hit. Wait for it. The news. This is the GameHounds news. The news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie, Nick D. Nicola, and Andrew Smith. And our first item is. Do we want to talk about the big one?
Let's wait for that. Let's round out the show with that, because that's a big one, and it's gonna.
No. That is so below the fold.
All right. Something I wanted to bring up was we mentioned it last week, the Steam Deck, and more information's came out about that, and I just want to kind of quickly go over that. Also, I was reading the comments, and I just want to clarify. I made a joke about Elgato making the Stream Deck at the same time. I thought I mentioned it, but in case I didn't, I do know that the Stream Deck has been out for a while, but they were releasing a new product in that line on the same day. And it got no coverage whatsoever because of the Steam Deck. But in the actual news, okay, you already brought it up. We talked about storage, for instance. Apparently, we'll be able to take out the SSD in it, but the way it's designed is for repair, not for upgrading. You could possibly upgrade it, but to take one of these apart, they're designed to be taken apart and fixed, but not by your average consumer. They want somebody who knows what they're doing to do it. So I imagine if you sent it back in, they could fix it. Or if you happen to know a person who is a repair person, like I do, he could probably fix it.
What if I just watch a YouTube video?
You'd probably void your warranty, and maybe the console will be destroyed. Who knows?
Actually, I think the right to repair it did pass recently. So we have a right to repair.
I thought that was only in the EU. Like, that is still being worked on here.
I know, like, Biden said something to the FCC, and the FCC was like, yes, we agree, but it wasn't like a law that passed.
Go ahead. Oh, it's more like
that's all I know about that.
All right.
FTC votes unanimously to enforce right to repair.
Oh, FTC. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was on the 21st. So just this week. I thought I saw something about that.
But yeah, so there was talks about whether or not the SSD would be soldered on the board, and it's not. It's pretty much the takeaway from that.
Okay. What about there was a place there for external storage, right? Can you still expand that? Can you play games off of that?
I believe you can. You can upgrade it, and the Steam Deck will offer like Steam versions of that upgrade. But I'm not sure if that is going to affect performance or anything like that. Like, I'm not sure if that will be compatible.
Okay.
So that's one thing, and they kind of went over the performance and what they're aiming for. They mentioned that it's 800p, so it's like 1280 by 800p, so a tiny fraction of a bit better than 720, and it is designed to handle like their goal was 30 FPS or better. 30 was the floor. And they have consistently, according to them, managed to make 30 FPS work on every game they have tried.
Yeah. What was it? Pierre-Luc Griffet, who is one of the developers for Valve, said that, quote, "This is the first time we've achieved the level of performance that is required to really run the latest generation of games without problems. All of the games we wanted to be playable is really the entire Steam library. We haven't really found something we couldn't throw at this device that it couldn't handle." So they have yet to find a game that on Steam at all that the Steam Deck couldn't play.
And they mentioned that on top of that, they are going to essentially be PC games. So you'll be able to adjust the performance if you want. And it's up to you if you want to put like an FPS limit, because the more frames you're pushing out, the more juice it's going to use. So if you're comfortable with 30 frames, you can set it there, and every game should be good. But if you want a little bit more performance, it'll come at the cost of battery life. It may not run super well. Like, you're going to get 30, maybe you can get 40, depending on the game. If it's super lightweight, maybe a little bit more. But the more you push out of it, the faster it's going to die. Just so you know. I'm kind of interested.
I'm not lying. I'm kind of interested too.
It depends if you're going to get a good use out of this. If you find yourself
it transitions between that moment of like, all right, I have a machine, like I have a computer that can't quite play everything I want to play, and it can't really find a graphics card. Sound familiar? Or I can't build something, and I don't want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a new computer that plays everything at the level I want it to. That this is a viable alternative. Or for my case, I'm kind of a good target audience for this. I don't want to convert my entire house from PC to Mac, from Mac to PC. I don't want to buy a PC. I'm happy with my Mac. I don't want to convert everything. My alternative is that I have two different computers in my home, one a high-end Mac, one a high-end PC. And I don't really want to do that. I find it kind of superfluous. With a Steam Deck, I can play everything on Steam and play it well and certainly enjoy it. And as a console gamer, it is a bit of a crossover that I feel it's familiar to my console mindset, but it's still playing PC games that are without limit out of the Steam library. If it delivers what it says it's going to deliver, it's tempting.
See, I don't know. Performance-wise, I think you could get something better out of a laptop for about, at the high end, the $650 one. If you were to put like $200 to $300 more into a laptop, you would get something that is objectively better in every single way as far as like performance-wise. You could do pretty good there. That being said,
but I couldn't throw it in my bag and just pull, grab it and grab and play.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Is that that's the part where I think this will do really well. Is for those people who have time to play a Switch, or like they do that at work, where pulling out a whole laptop, busting out the mouse and keyboard to play those kind of games isn't really viable. Pulling out this handheld system that can play a game pretty well for a couple hours is a much better proposition. Like if you're at, say, the dentist or the doctor's and you're waiting, you're not going to bust out a laptop to play like your next top end game that you're enjoying.
Mm-mm.
You might pull out this to go play like a level of Hades.
Yep.
Play some Bloodroot, for instance. Like play Octopath Traveler and get through a few sections of that game. Whereas,
actually, yeah, if it's Windows based, you could have Game Pass.
I don't. It's not Windows based. Apparently, you can put Windows OS on it, but it's
Right.
its own Linux.
That's true, but it's open enough that like if you wanted to dig into it, you could.
Oh yeah, the source
make
code
something
for it
like
is
that.
100% open and available to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to, there are going to be people who hack this to no end.
Oh yeah, yeah. And yeah, I said before, I would be a little interested in the low end just so I can play a lot of those PC games that don't come to console. Things like Loop Hero or Wildermyth is one I've been watching a lot of. And yeah, AC Wraith says it's my Olympic second screen, which, yes, like I'm just now realizing again with the Switch, like, oh yeah, it's kind of good to have a second screen, to have something on TV and then have a game I could be playing separately. It's kind of nice. But
Alan Casper says Trails of Cold Steel, and I'm looking it up. It's kind of an anime-esque game. Yeah, totally. Like RPGs would be great for the Steam Deck. Just popping that out, whatever, and making a little bit of progress while you're waiting, like at a doctor's office, dentist, wherever. If you want to play some Warframe, you could totally do that. Although you could be doing that on mobile here soon, anyways.
Wait, really? Warframe?
Yeah, they're coming out with the mobile version of Warframe.
Oh,
and
that's
it's going to be full
weird.
Warframe on the phone.
Huh.
You seem flabbergasted. Like,
yes, I mean, I guess with a lot of new phones, you can hook controllers up to it. Like I know that was some big thing with
you just
that,
play with
but
the.
no, that's terrible. No game that has had virtual control sticks is good. Virtual control sticks are just they're necessary for some games, but they are never good.
Agreed.
They're just bad. Yeah. So you'd have to hook up a controller.
Yeah.
Which I remember I did that for one what's Apple's Apple Arcade, their subscription thing. I played a skateboard game there and hooked the PlayStation controller up to the iPhone to play some, and like it worked, but at a certain point I thought I could just be playing a game on my TV instead of a controller with the phone.
Yeah, AC Ray says it's Nick's new Olympic second screen.
Yeah.
And Alan Caspar off of Facebook says, dude, give me Trails of Cold Steel on a Steam Deck all day.
I don't know. I think it's nice. I think it'll attract the people who bought the Switch for its ease of play. Not necessarily for the games. Like the Switch and Nintendo is always going to have games that are going to pull you to it, like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda. Yeah. If you're getting a Switch for that, that's one thing. But there are a bunch of people who got the Switch because of the handheld nature of it.
Yeah, and I will say, I find the Switch really appealing just because the ability to dock it, the ability to pull it out, have it be a second screen while I watch the Olympics, and then actually dock it and play it on my TV. And knowing that you can dock the Steam Deck, that it would be possible to like, hey, let's, take an HDMI cable, put it into the TV, and then dock the Steam Deck, assuming that you can somehow play it on a TV like that would be interesting. I don't know what hoops I'd have to jump through for that because it doesn't have detachable controllers. But I would like it more if I could put it on my TV. I spent a lot of money on the TV. I want to play things on the TV, man. Like, come on, that's what it's there for.
Just get a high-end computer and hook it up and just play with the controller. It's the best way to do it.
I have done that. Like, it is easy to like just take an HDMI cable from the computer and plug it into the TV as a monitor, and like it works, which is
But yeah, I mean, needless to say, I'm pretty interested. It seems pretty good. The performance seems like it's there.
By the way, there is that dock that you can use for this.
yeah, but I don't know how to control the game from there. Like I don't know what I would need. Like yeah, you can dock it, but do I then need a keyboard and mouse?
Just,
Do I then need a controller?
Looking at it, there's a USB on it. You just put a USB cord connected to a controller and you play.
USB peripherals right there.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, all right.
So yeah, we'll see. Did they actually have a release date for it?
December 2021.
Okay.
So sometime in December this year.
Yeah. It will be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you mention it? I think you mentioned one of the things that I had, and I did not write a topic for it. You mentioned Hades.
Yes. What about? I have not heard anything.
All right, so you can write the headline because I picked this up while Nick was talking because
Yeah, he goes on.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never talk too much. I know when to get in and out. It's one of my greatest qualities, I think, is my ability to know when to quit when I'm ahead. Most people don't know that. There's a lot of people that don't understand that, but I think I'm one of the few that actually do.
Yeah, I mean, you could really
Wouldn't
just
you
hop
agree?
in and hop.
Yeah.
No, you know when to not stop and to move.
Oh
on.
yeah, I never talk over anybody like that. Yeah, I'm a very polite podcast host.
At all.
Just shut up. All right. So here's the thing about Hades. GDC was this last week, and also the Independent Games Festival. Of course, there is the Game Developers Choice Awards and the Independent Game Festival Awards that are held during GDC. And this week, and not surprisingly, Hades won Game of the Year and a bunch of other stuff too. They won Best Design and Best Audio at the GDC portion of the event. Because remember, there's kind of two different awards shows in one when it comes to GDC. But yeah, Hades won Game of the Year, the GDC Awards, as well as Best Audio, Best Design. Phasmophobia won Best Debut, Best Mobile Game Genshin Impact. Innovation Award was Dreams. Best Narrative was Last of Us Part 2. In fact, let me just share this so that it just makes it easy for you. Best AR Game, Half-Life Alyx. Ghost of Tsushima picked up Best Visual Art and also the Audience Award. And then the Independence Games Festival, which is held simultaneously but is something completely separate. That is for independent game developers only. Arag got the Audience Award. Excellence in Audio was Genesis Noir, as well as Excellence in Visual Art. I wholeheartedly agree with that. That was the one that you turned me on to, Nick, about the telling of the story of creation of all life on the planet, of the planet and the universe and everything, through a kind of stylized art deco art noir murder mystery, jazz involved as well. Excellence in Design was Teardown. Best Student Game, Vessels. Umurangi Generation got Excellence in Narrative, and Nouveau Award was Blazeball, and Seamus McNally Grand Prize was Umurangi Generation. So yeah, a good year for Hades, a good year. Oh, and the best technology was given to Microsoft Flight Simulator at the GDC Awards, which was interesting.
Best buggy technology.
Well, I've heard that it looks like really, really good.
I've heard it. Yeah, I heard it works well.
Just, its performance was terrible when it first launched. I don't know if they've fixed it since then, but it had a lot of problems early on. Favorite one was that someone, because they use like a Google Maps, Bing Maps, and someone like changed the dimensions of one of the buildings. so that in the game it was essentially a skyscraper into space. Like it had like 2,500 stories instead of how many it was supposed to.
Well, shit happens on a launch, but still, it's pretty cool.
I love that Hades won. I mean, there's a lot of games that deserve a lot of credit, but Hades is a fantastic example of a developer putting a lot of love into a game and listening to its fan base, because they often updated it and changed balancing and a lot of combat concerns by listening directly to their fan base, and they let people know that, hey, we made this change because you guys said,
right?
Like, you let us know.
Yeah. It's so in addition to being a good game, it's a good developer. It's a player's developer. So yeah, that was my quick down and dirty. That's not the most important story of the week.
I've got some other more fun things. EA had an event. They had their EA Play where they had a couple announcements to make.
I didn't watch that stream. I should have, but I didn't.
Before you get into that, sorry to interrupt. I know. Have you guys played Phasmophobia?
No.
No.
Because it was mentioned. It should run on your guys' computers, but we should have a night where we stream that. Do you guys handle horror games well?
No.
I fucking love horror.
Which makes me great to watch.
Perfect. So we're going to have to get it because it's like $5 or 15. We should all play that together at some point because I need to go back to it.
Let me see. Is it? And
I've heard enough
AC Wraith.
Is
it Mac friendly? AC Wraith. Let you look it up.
Yeah, I've heard enough good things about it from various podcasts. I would play that with you guys.
You know what? I've got my cannabis sleeping pills. By the way, they work great. Yes, I can do that. I think that I could do it without having nightmares. And if I have nightmares, it's there you go.
I think the viewers would love this, to hear us play that game together. That's all.
All right.
But yes, anyways, Nick, go on. EA State of Play that I rudely interrupted.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so they have I've got he's very needy today. He's not usually this active. He usually just sits in my lap and stays there. EA had a bunch of announcements. There wasn't a whole lot to the stream. Some of the biggest things were they officially announced the Dead Space remake. One of the things that has come out after the fact is that this remake is going to be only for next-gen consoles. So only PlayStation PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles.
That's a bit interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens there. No announcement about date or anything like that. The trailer was just like a 30-second. It's just an announcement. Hey, the rumors are true. We're working on this. So there's not a whole lot to go on. But it is coming out officially. One of the things they also highlighted was this addition to Battlefield 2042 called Portal, which is basically a way for players to kind of customize games. And the customization went so far as to have like gun games where you only have certain weapons, or one of the other modes they showed off is one player plays a tank and then he fights like 30 other players that are little bomb diffusing robots. Another thing they showed off is a like 4v30 mode where 4 people play as modern day soldiers and all of the other people play as World War I soldiers.
That's amazing.
And yeah, the combinations that they come up with sound really, really awesome. And one of the things that came out after the show is that the Portal will include some maps from Bad Company 2, which will be nice because I played a whole lot of that. Some of those maps I remember really well. And just kind of goes to show I remember they said there were 3 games that they were pulling specifically from. Battlefield 2042, Bad Company 2, and then there was a third that I don't remember specifically. I think it was like Battlefield 1. And those were the 3 games that they were specifically choosing to like mix together in every conceivable way. And yeah, I remember when we first saw the trailer for this game, it seemed like it understood the kind of wacky wartime violence that Battlefield is. You know, words that you don't usually put together, but like that's what Battlefield is. It's wacky war. The Portal seems like it's really leaning into that. And so it kind of furthers my hope that this is a game that really understands the wacky joy that is Battlefield and is allowing people to just embrace that.
And I think it shows a lot of good self-reflection that they understand how.
I love that. Knives versus defibrillators.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That is awesome.
This whole cinematic and the fact the 3 games that they chose, because Battlefield 2042 is kind of an extension of like Battlefield 4. It's that modern warfare, but just a little bit more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They understand which games their audience loved and exactly what to pull from it. Like Bad Company 2 has not been mentioned in Battlefield parlance for like a decade, but it still got put into this portal, this combination of things.
Yeah. I'm wondering if
I love this idea. I love this idea. It's either going to be great or it's just going to be awful. Not sure which. It's either going to be a wild success or a miserable mismatch failure.
I really hope it's not a failure because it seems like they took a risk on this,
and
I love that they took that risk.
Yeah, it seems like DICE is heading into this. Instead of taking, like you said, not taking itself so seriously, just going into wacky war, they've gone into wacky war, but with such joy for the IP, for the whole Battlefield world, that it's almost like a gigantic love letter to every Battlefield player that's ever played.
I was a little worried that when they showed that trailer for 2042 and they had the whole rocket jump that everyone went nuts for in the trailer, that like, okay, that's just marketing. But if this is just marketing, they have a really good marketing team. 'Cause this seems so this is heartwarming to know that a company is self-reflecting enough to know what to do. Like
absolutely,
what people love.
It's like somebody it's like was it BioWare opening up its arm and like saying all Vorchas. Vorcha run, the biggest Vorcha run ever. You know, just like, because that's inevitably what you end up doing in multiplayer is you have a silly night of doing something silly and it's hilarious and it's so much fun. And you die and you enjoy dying because you've done something silly and fun and it makes people laugh and makes yourself laugh. Battlefield is like saying, we're giving you the engine to have that night every night all the time. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm all about that.
I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, let me. This is the robot mode. The mode is called Robot Man.
Mhm.
Redacted. Robot Man redacted.
Yep. So one person gets a tank and everyone else is little tiny bomb diffuser robots.
Oh, it is not running well. You are not running well. Okay. You can't do that. You let me remove you and I will look it up. That's where the plugging in is it's going to hurt you.
Well,
so
okay,
what's it called?
I just looked up EA Play Live. It's at 1 hour and 24 minutes or so. 1 hour and 25 minutes.
All right.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna plug in.
125. We're looking for it. 124. Let's see. This is gripping, I'm sure. All right.
Oh, fantastic podcasting. All right. I don't know. It's fun. I'm kind of excited. I was already excited for Battlefield 42. The World War I with Battlefield 1 and World War II, like, they are fun, but I'm not super interested in those. Going back to, a modern, or I guess in this case, extra modern warfare is fun.
Yeah, I'm not finding it at 125.
All right. Well, you kind of get the idea, I feel.
Yep.
Shall we move on?
We shall. All right. So, let's see. My next item is speaking of Battlefield 2042, I don't know if he mentioned this. It is going to have an open beta ahead of its launch. Open beta is going to be sometime in September, according to DICE. EA Play subscribers who pre-ordered the game will get early access to the beta. Stop it.
I was fixing it.
Oh. What did I write? Did I goof it up?
2024.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. So EA Play subscribers who pre-ordered the game are going to get early access to the beta. DICE didn't say how much sooner they would have, how much more time they would have playing it, but they'll be let in before everybody else will. And then in addition, EA Play members can play the full game early, as opposed to, the rest of the unwashed masses. EA Play members will be able to start playing the game on October 15th. The public release is October 22nd.
I'm probably going to pre-order this game on PC.
I'm probably going to play PC.
Edie, you should get a game on PC.
Fuck you!
Do it.
No.
Don't worry, I'm not getting it on PC. Don't worry.
I'm not getting it on PC.
Yeah.
All
Listen, you guys
We'll
have
be
that
able to play
California
together.
money. You have that California money. You can get on PC with me.
No, that California money goes to California rent.
That's right. California. How much is gas around here now?
I actually got some yesterday. I think the middle tier was like 4.6.
What, $4.60 per gallon?
Yeah.
I'm rocking a solid $3 here. Still, I mean,
There's a reason why
20
receptionists make $60,000 a year starting, like lower entry level base tier, and you still got to work 2 jobs.
Listen, yes, it's $1.50 more for gas, so you pay $20 extra for a gallon. But PC
For
gaming,
Mhm.
words, things that convince you to get a PC, just do it. Then you can play Tarkov with me.
Nope.
No, see, I'll just get a Steam Deck. I'll play Tarkov on the Steam
Right.
Deck.
I'd rather do
It's
Steam.
not
Steam
on
Deck.
Steam, so
Oh,
Really?
yes, it has its own website that you download. You're their own launcher.
You want to see a cat butt?
yeah.
We're about-
I predict a cat butt is coming.
Come on.
So I
No.
don't think your computer is actually switched over to your Ethernet. I think you're.
Oh, really?
You have it plugged in, but it's not
Yeah.
actually running it.
I might have to
It's-
leave and come back.
Well, no, you can just reassign it. Do I need to tell
No.
you? The
Shepard-
Mac user, have to tell you how to switch.
Shepard's
off
about
of-
to
Sure.
get us a mark on.
Turn off your Wi-Fi. Just
Yeah.
turn off your freaking Wi-Fi on your
We're gonna-
on your PC.
We're gonna
and
get
it
a
will-
terms
it
of
will
service
move.
violation here soon.
It recognizes that I'm connected with
It recognizes it, but it's not using it.
Okay, disconnect the Wi-Fi.
No, I am not warframing anything. I'm not PCing anything. The only thing I PC is Outlook. Anybody want to play Outlook with me?
Hello?
Well, if you get a PC, we
Then-
can do 7 Days to
Much
Die
better.
again.
Okay.
At least it seems like it's better. We'll see.
It should be. I
That's-
disconnected from Wi-Fi. So the only
Then-
way we
right,
are
the only-
talking.
is right, and
Yes.
you can see the difference.
Good.
All righty, dighty. I did my next item. Anybody else want to bring something?
Yeah. I got something. So
Yeah, it's $3 everywhere but California. I don't think I've seen $3 gas for the last 15 years.
I feel like it was kind of cheap for a moment there, like during all the lockdowns, because I remember filling up
Yeah.
Yeah,
and not paying a whole lot.
Yeah, you're right. You're
got
right.
under
During
like
lockdown.
$2.
And I remember it started.
God.
It started to jump.
It hasn't been $2 here since the 80s.
It jumped right when there was the big shitstorm in Texas, because I know there's a lot of oil production there, and that kind of screwed over a lot of the country.
Yeah, like a bedwetter, like spouts off in Texas, and then our prices go up because there's an issue with supply.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, in news, real news, not California news.
The only news that matters.
Actually, we're going to be wrapping back around to that here soon, I'm sure.
Point.
New World, the only game made by Amazon that seems like it might have a chance of lasting longer than a year, has been killing 3090 graphics cards. If you don't know, a 3090 is the top end graphics card that is out right now on the consumer market. It is roughly about $1,500 MSRP, but you typically pay around $2,000 to $3,000 if you get it off the current market right now.
Because that's the only way you can get it right now, because it's owned by scalpers.
Yes. But it has been literally breaking them. Like bricking them.
Irrevocably bricking them, like you can't. Like
they're destroyed, and this happened to a lot of streamers because their graphics cards are typically the high end ones.
Right,
it's their job.
So I read that this was happening to a specific version of the 3090 that was like, it's not one made by NVIDIA. It's made by like EVGA. EVGA. Okay. Yes. And like, it's specifically their version of the 3090 that's doing it. And I also saw that like they're working to replace it for the people that got it.
Yes. So it was an issue for the game as well, because they patched it out pretty quick. And from what people could tell, it was related to the fact that the menu screen, well, the game's already horribly optimized, and it was causing power spikes across like the board at random times. But the menu screen had unlimited frames, and it was trying to pull like power for unlimited frames.
So it wrecked the hardware. It didn't wreck the software. It wrecked the hardware.
Yeah.
It fried it.
Yes.
Oh shit.
So it's like, I can go faster. I'm going to go faster. I can go even more faster. I'm going to go even more faster.
And with that, it basically melted the cards. The silicon got too hot too quickly, and it would completely destroy a card.
I know. Imagine finally, AC Wraith, imagine finally getting your hands on a 3090, which is hard to do, and then having it not bricking suggests like it stops working. It's beyond bricking. It melts it.
Well, bricking is like it becomes a paperweight, or you could just use it as a brick.
Right. I know, but that could be software, that could be hardware. When you're frying it, that's all hardware, and it can never be fixed. It's
just got to be replaced. As
Nick said, in semi-good news, EVGA has announced that they are replacing anyone's hardware that was broken by this.
That's
for
good.
Free. Like, it's covered. Not even sure. Like, obviously you shouldn't be out of warranty because they're not that old, but it shouldn't be an issue. Whether or not they have the stock, or if they have like backup stock for RMA purposes, we'll find out. But yeah. That sucks, because
that really sucks. Oh, what a horrible story that is.
I would probably openly weep.
I'm sure a lot of tears were shed over that.
Yeah.
That was horrible. Well, at least they're making it right. It's just inconvenient, really, for those people that have had that happen.
And like I said, Amazon fixed it on their end as quick as possible. It's already fixed if you have the latest update. And EVGA is replacing it.
Okay. Next item.
In other terrible news, this one not having to do with Amazon, but having to do with Singapore and Ubisoft. There is an article up on Kotaku by Ethan Gotch, who is sort of taking over. Oh shit! What's the guy that always had the breaking news? Who went to Bloomberg?
Jason Schreier.
Taking over the Jason Schreier role and having a deep dive into the troubled development of Skull and Bones. And basically, from what I can gather from the article, is everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. A lot of it is just your basic horrible mismanagement. That the game actually started as an expansion to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. And then they wanted to spin it off into its own game. But a lot of the issue is the managers had trouble deciding what type of game it should be. And then when those managers got replaced, people came in with new decisions. So one of the examples is, at first, the game was purely a sailing game. There wasn't going to be any on-land exploration. A new manager came in and decided, no, we need some on-land exploration. That requires a whole new set of animations, technology, menus, just redesigning the game. One of the things that comes up in the article is that it seemed like throughout all the development, it was difficult to settle on the question of, do you play as a person or do you play as a ship? Like, that fundamental question still seems like one that they struggle with even now. And importantly, one of the reasons that this game is still in development, even though it's gone through layers of mismanagement, even issues of like Ubisoft Paris sort of mismanaging it from afar. So not only is it mismanaging Ubisoft, not Shanghai, Singapore, but from Paris, it's all going wrong too. One of the reasons that they're sticking with it is because Ubisoft actually signed a deal with the Singapore government that they will get, some type of tax break upon the game's release, as long as they develop a new IP from the Singapore studio. So, in order to encourage development in Singapore, that studio has to ship a game. And the game that they are working on shipping is a game that has been continually mismanaged, and Ubisoft now kind of can't back out. They need to ship it one way or another, or they need to ship something. And so that's why they're
contractually obligated.
Yep.
This, if history has been any indication, this is going to be a hot mess when it releases. We are not going to get a good game out of this.
No, we are not.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the Cinderella story we all hope it to be.
No, I don't think there's ever been an example in the industry of something being managed like this. And there are quite a few examples of a thing being managed like this. Anthem comes to mind.
This article does mention Anthem.
None of it turns out well. It never works.
Yeah.
I think this is an example of someone was like, wow, people really like this. Let's make a game about this, and not someone going, I have a game to make.
I mean, it's one of those things that in the article you mentioned this, on paper, Skull and Bones looks like it's an easy game to make, because Black Flag had a whole, ship fighting system in it. It's like, oh, it should be easy to expand that. But again, kind of what you said, Andrew, is like they didn't have a clear idea on how to expand it. And at a certain point, they took inspiration from survival games where there was going to be a whole crafting system involved. Like, you go on land, you collect stuff and you craft it, and then they throw that all the way. So it's like the fundamental design of the game just kept changing. And who even knows what it is now? But
yeah.
Ubisoft has to stick with it, so we will see the end result eventually.
I wonder if there are quality concerns in the contract. Like, hey, you have to make a game that's good.
No, I think that the only thing that they have in the contract is they have to have a certain amount of people working.
So at a
And
certain
have
point,
hired people, have it hired in Singapore and hired Singaporeans to work on it.
at a certain point, it feels like they just need to cut their losses, make like a $20 downloadable game, and just do something like that.
Make it a mobile game.
Sure, like honestly, why not? Like,
Yeah,
That's probably been brought
Blood
up.
Reaper has the best one, the most, and probably the summing it all up in one word: cyberpunk. Very much so. Yeah, this is going to be a mess, and it's a
Yeah.
shame.
it is a shame because I remember when I saw that trailer, I was very excited for it because
Yep.
the sailing in Black Flag is some of the most fun
Oh, it
in
is.
any Assassin's Creed game.
One of
Yep.
my first videos I ever made from like the PS Share was of Black Flag because it was so cool. Like I had such a cool moment that I was like, yeah, this is a video I want to make.
Me too.
Yeah.
Where I just sailing around and listening to the sea
honestly,
shanties and just
It
doing
feels
stuff.
like if you just took the design of Sid Meier's Pirates and just made that in a world like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, there's your game. It-
Did they explain why? And you just explained it now, but why was it so hard to do?
again, like the fundamentals just kept changing. I know in the article it
So
mentions
was
that,
the
like,
developers making the changes in the fundamentals and not just saying, "Hey, let's just pull this out and expand." And
oh
they
yeah, like
started
it's
to
just
get in there
mismanaged.
and just futz with it a little too
They
much.
said at one point it was like an open world game, and you would have, oh, I forget the first version of the game that the article describes sounds really cool in that it's kind of this kind of MMO-esque living world where you're sailing around with other players. That
I would
sounded awesome.
fucking yeah.
Sea of
But-
Thieves.
But then from there,
Yeah,
it's
true.
like they then took some design operations. Someone came in and was like, no, we need an on foot section. And so they had to start adding that. Someone came in and said, let's make it more like Rust. So let's add like a crafting and collection component to it. Someone else comes in and says, no, let's scrap all that and let's start over with like a multiplayer like Rainbow Six Siege, where you
Yeah.
load into multiplayer maps, and let's do that. And just what that game is on a fundamental level. Is it an MMO? Is it an exploration game? Is it a multiplayer game? It just keeps changing.
One of the two things happen at that point. Either you get the best game of all time, or you get you just get a shitty game.
When Star Citizen comes out, we'll know the answer.
Yes. No, I mean, the reason I said it the way I did is because when you don't have a vision for your game, if someone's not like, I want to make this game, like I have an idea of what I want,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to keep getting new people who are like, especially if the management is swapping in and out, who's going to come in
Yeah.
and be like, no, that game, I think that game was trash. And since we didn't really have a plan when we started this, we're going to do what I want because I think I know what's better for this game.
And that's right. Speaking of swapping in and out, that reminded me, another aspect of the article says that at this point, almost everyone working on it is like a beginner game developer, because so many of the veterans are like, I've wasted so much time on this and left. And so like they've just lost so much talent from people that
So you're
aren't
telling me
shipping.
that it is a beginning team in a new studio with a revolving management working on a game that had no vision. Guys,
Yeah.
I think we have a winner there. I would put money on Ubisoft right now. When they drop Skull and Bones, that stock is just going to go through the roof.
Oh,
Trust
yep.
me.
Yep.
Man.
Nice.
How to take a great idea that was easy to do and turn it into just a royal clusterfuck.
Yeah.
I would love if someone went around and like got these stories of Anthem, Skull and Bones. I remember Time Shift. It's a really old game, had the same problem.
I know Jason Schreier wrote a book called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and I think he wrote a second one too that's filled with a lot of stories about that. I think not just disasters, but also like games that went well. Because I think in Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, I think he goes into development of The Witcher 3 and Uncharted 4, among others. It's really good read.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick it up.
And since we're talking about Ubisoft, and we have a few lighter stories left, but I figure Ubisoft's a good jump to the next main story that Edie's been chomping at the bit for. What do Ubisoft and this next story have in common? You tell us.
Does it have to do with assassins?
Oh, no.
Does it have to do with rainbows?
No.
Does it have to do with harassment?
We got a winner.
Oh, yeah.
His prize. Edie, go for it.
What, are we talking about it now, finally?
Oh,
Yes.
you're just okay.
Figured we go into it. It seems like a good jumping.
All right. Let's jump
Segue.
into this. So yeah, the story that we should have opened with, because those guys think that the best needs to be saved for last. No. You start with the big story. The big story this week is that Activision Blizzard is in a huge ton of hot water. Not only from fans, and not only from their own employees, but also from the California state government. And a lot has happened in the last few days. It is developing and it is complicated, but it's also super easy. So it all started, or at least the most recent revelations have started on Tuesday. California State Department of Fair Employment, and I am going to remove my stream, stop my screen. I'm going to share a screen. I'm sorry, I got to go to all this because you dropped this on me freaking, without giving me a heads up. So I had everything lined up. All right, there we go. Is that it? You got it? Yep, there you go.
Like one of the impressive things is that this isn't individuals filing suit. This is the state.
The state
like
all
all of a
of
sudden
California
makes this like a huge bigger deal. This isn't
Much.
Kotaku publishing an article about harassment or something.
No, this is the California State Department of Fair Employment and Housing. That is the California State Department that oversees workplace conditions for businesses in California, which Activision Blizzard is. They're based out of Santa Monica. They filed this lawsuit on Tuesday against Activision Blizzard for fostering a, quote, pervasive frat boy workplace culture and also systemic racial and sexual harassment against women. So, according to this complaint, it came after a 2-year investigation by the DFEH. And the text of the text of this complaint, you can just find it online. Clearly, I've got it here. It's online. You can download it. I forget how many pages it is. It's 29 pages. It will turn your stomach. Any right-minded person, and if it doesn't turn your stomach, you have to ask if there's something wrong with you. So anyway, this 2-year investigation by this state agency, in this complaint, they outline what, if true, they're utterly they're just true. They're just descriptions at this point, but if they're true, it is utterly disgusting. It is some of the most egregious practices in both racial and sexual harassment that has not only led to, obviously, all of the implications it normally has, actually led to the death of one of their employees who took her own life. So the agency says that the complaints in this are, quote unquote, almost universally confirmed by female employees who said that the entire company was akin to working at a frat house. This is straight out of the complaint. Akin to working at a frat house, which inevitably involved male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to sexual harassment with no repercussion. For example, the complaint describes something the department that they describe in this complaint as cube crawls. I'm looking for that. There we go. Cube crawls, where inebriated men, they said in the argument alcohol, but subsequent tweets from former Blizzard employees, and it has subsequently come out that it's really happening on the Blizzard side, not, I mean, obviously maybe happening at Activision, but Blizzard is the most egregious actor in all of this, that it wasn't just alcohol. Here is coke in the bathrooms, according to some people on Twitter. But they would do these cube crawls where inebriated men at the company would go from cubicle to cubicle at the office, what they describe engaging in inappropriate behavior and sexually harassing female employees. And that male coworkers would regularly, during these cube crawls and at any particular time when you were working as a woman at Blizzard or Activision Blizzard or at Blizzard specifically, that they would make jokes about women's breasts, like not just in general, like your breasts kind of conversations. They would joke about, and I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, so I'm going to spell out the word RAPE. And inappropriately, they would inappropriately touch women employees with little or no repercussions from the company, despite the fact that women were complaining to HR and they were complaining directly to executive management about what was happening. Some people in Twitter who were not named, these descriptions were not put in the complaint, but women that had read this complaint actually said, this absolutely is happening. And in some cases, they actually addressed, or they said that they had sent out panic emails to the CEO because they had been threatened with assault by some of their coworkers, and that the CEO did nothing. In fact, they were told they were being brats. But that is not the worst of it. Other horrific allegations the agency alleges was a case of one female employee who killed herself during a company trip, that she had been harassed so badly that may have led to her
killing herself. Yeah.
Right. I don't want to say the S word because that's another word that is a trigger for YouTube. But for example, they said that this woman had her pictures of her lady part starting with a V circulated by male coworkers at a company Christmas party. And that this woman had been sent on this company trip with her supervisor, who was having a sexual relationship with her, and police subsequently in the investigation of what happened at the trip found butt plugs and lubricant in said supervisor's luggage. And it doesn't stop there. According to the complaint, women were regularly treated differently than their male counterparts. Women were given lower level jobs than their male superiors, and that these male superiors would shuffle their work onto the lower level female employees so they could sit at their desks and play video games. And then when these women complained to people saying, hey, my supervisor is playing video games all day and I'm having to do all his work, they were told nothing came of it. They were told, forget about it. It's not your problem. But when these same women would leave the office for a second to go take a walk, that supervisors were calling them saying, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Are you off the clock? Are you doing, like, essentially micromanaging them in really very gender biased ways?
I remember there's a report about a black woman when she wanted to go on vacation. She had to write a 1-page report about what she would be doing with her time off.
Right.
Like a fucking high school book report.
Right.
And like no one else had to do that. It was only her.
Yep. It was bad.
If you ever wondered why, I don't know, maybe it was like this before Activision took over, because apparently Activision has owned part of Blizzard for
A good long time.
13 years now. 2008 is when they did the merger. I'd like to think it's because it's Activision's fault, but I don't know. This could have been like this.
The Twitter, the former employees on Twitter have said this is Blizzard and has been Blizzard for a long time. And I'm kind of sad that nobody felt comfortable saying anything until this came out. But the cherry, is definitely on that shit Sunday is that whole thing about Black women being treated and African American women or women of color in general being treated so differently than men, both as far as sexual harassment, as far as lack of pay equity. Many of them were doing more work, had better reviews, had essentially were better employees and demonstratively on paper better employees that were making the company more money and doing a better job, and that male employees were being promoted over them who would subsequently sit at their desk and play Call of Duty.
Yeah, this kind of shit's terrible. I am so sad that all of this had to come out.
Oh,
like I'm
so sad that it had to go to this level before it came out.
I mean,
that's kind of what I mean. Like
I don't know. I feel like it's better that it came to this level with the state filing suit. If this was just a report from Polygon or Kotaku or any other website about this,
it could easily be ignored.
You would have a situation where like, oh yeah, the company is just, oh, we take these claims seriously and we're going to launch an internal investigation, and they'll say all the right things, and then 6 months from now who knows what will change. A lot like Ubisoft has done.
Right.
And that's kind of what I meant. I mean, I'm glad this is getting out because there's a lot of justice that needs to be done here, but I mean, I hate that it has to get to this point.
So
yes,
I hate that it has to get to this point, and I hate that it has been going on for as long as it did. But if you want to know how not to handle a situation like this, well, first off, Activision responded. Their response was that the DFEH distorted. Essentially, they said none of this is true. We have a great place to work, and DFEH distorted all the facts and got everything wrong, which is not a great way to handle the situation. My brother said the best way to handle these kind of, or if you want to try to hide the truth, you want to lie, shift the blame, change the subject. That's the 4 steps.
That they're going the fake news
lie,
route.
shift the blame, change the subject.
Have you guys been looking at Ubisoft and what they've been? No. I'm just...
But I remember I briefly mentioned this before we started the show. It's interesting looking at this response versus all the other responses that other similar companies have had, because when a report comes out from a publication, because the company isn't under any legal threat, they're like, oh yes, we believe these women, we take all these threats seriously. When the state comes after them with a lawsuit, their response is, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Fuck you. Fuck off. We didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And
like,
I mean,
it's
that might
so
be a
different.
legal thing.
Here's a quote from it. We are sickened by the reprehensible conduct of the DFEH to drag into the complaint.
Not we're sickened by the reprehensible conduct of these employees. No.
We're sickened by the state to drag into the complaint the tragic suicide of an employee whose passing has no bearing whatsoever on this case, with no regard for her grieving family. Oh,
it's executive.
Like, it's no denial
you bring a
of
tear to my eye.
It's no denial of any of the claims. It's all, why are you doing this to us?
Right.
Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend and her amazing content. Her amazing statement was, it is irresponsible behavior from the uncountable state bureaucrats that are driving many of the state's best businesses out of California. So they're basically saying, you're just trying to get us out of the state.
Oh, we're just going to take our sexual harassment and we're going to leave.
Yeah.
So, and if you didn't need any proof of where Activision is in this, like maybe they got it wrong after a 2-year investigation of state investigators. Maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Sure. Then they add, we put tremendous effort in creating fair and rewarding compensation packages and policies that reflect our culture business, and we strive to pay all employees fairly for equal or substantially similar work. The company who they literally had their employees walk out because of how much Bobby Kotick was making.
Ultimately, this screams like PR, and apparently they have been radio silent for a couple days now on like all social media. But I want to throw in a few more anecdotes from Kotaku, and then a message from Mike Morheim, which is a co-founder of Blizzard.
Well, before you hit that, we should talk about the email that came out from J. Allen Barrack. The guy who is the current CEO, he sent out an email to Activision Blizzard employees or Blizzard employees. And that one is, let's just say, if you think that the denial, the response from Activision was bad, you should read this. Here is Jason Schreier, of course, gets his hands on everything. He got a copy of this. And I don't know if you can read it there, but it says, "Hello, Blizzard. I personally have a lot of emotions coming out of yesterday, and I know you do too. The allegations and the hurt of current and former employees are extremely troubling. I know many of you would like to receive more clarity. While I can't comment on specifics of the case as it's an open investigation, I can say that behavior detailed in the allegations is completely unacceptable. It goes with saying that it is completely unacceptable for anyone in the company to face discrimination or harassment. It goes with saying that everyone should feel safe working here, whether we are on campus, at BlizzCon, or working from home. It goes with saying it takes courage to come forward and all the claims brought in the company are investigated internally, blah, 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 blah." Stepping back. When I talked with Bobby about taking this job, one of the first things I mentioned was a revered saint in the Brack household, Gloria Steinem. He actually wrote this. Growing up, the value of women as equals, understanding the work that has been done for equal treatment, and the fact that there was still much to do were common themes. This is just one of the reasons why the fight for equality is incredibly important to me. People with different backgrounds, views, and experiences are essential for Blizzard, our team, and our player community. I disdain bro culture and have spent my career fighting against it. Nowhere in this whole thing does he say, "I'm sorry, I let you down." Nowhere does he take any responsibility that if this happened, I'm sorry. He says it couldn't have happened because I don't believe in bro culture. By the way, J. Allen Brack has been personally named in this suit, not personally named as a defendant, but he was named in the descriptions of people that had been doing wrong. In addition to the former senior creative director of World of Warcraft, a guy named Alex Afrasiabi, who's according to the complaint, his office at Blizzard was known as the Cosby Suite. Because he so regularly pressured female employees for sex or otherwise harassed them either in the office or at BlizzCon. At one point, it is said in the complaint that he would pull "you've got to have sex with me, don't you know who I am," especially when he was drunk. Do you know who I am? Why aren't you letting me touch you?
So I just want to mention how bad a situation has to get that you make a joke like having a senior director known as the Cosby Suite. When that becomes a cultural norm in your company, you have gone beyond the pale of like this should have been dealt with.
Right.
To expand on him, there was in the file, it was alleged that when they were at BlizzCon, he would hit on female employees, telling him he wanted to marry them, attempting to kiss them, and putting his arms around them. This was in plain view of other male employees, including supervisors, who had to interfere and pull him off female employees. At BlizzCon.
Pulled off of female employees. And let me also add something else for your consideration, the jury. Let me also add something. Remember, we had talked about J.L.N. Brack, who does not support bro culture. And Gloria Steinem is a revered saint. And we've got this Alex who had to be pulled off of women and apparently, I guess, had been spoken to by J. Ellen Brack. Let me share this with you. I need to go to nope. Remove from stream. Sorry, stop screen. It's gonna take a second. Let me pull it up because I've got to actually do it, specially because I need you to hear the audio.
So while she's doing that, until she's ready.
Okay. I am.
Oh, okay.
Oh no. All right,
okay,
all right,
so
ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this? Oop.
Oh.
A lot of very strong female characters. However, I was wondering if we could have some that don't look like they've stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog.
What do you mean?
Wait. Which catalog would you like them to step out of?
Could you see Sylvanas looking any other way? Right. So we feel you.
That's Jay Allen.
We want to vary female characters, absolutely. So yeah, we'll pick different catalogs.
Hey,
super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She looks super uncomfortable.
Hold on a second. It gets worse.
Hey, Alex, what catalog is that Tauren female coming out of?
Not one you'd read.
Yeah, sexy cow business.
I mean, just
oh my God, that is so horrible. It is just beyond the pale. This is the man where Gloria Steinem is a revered saint. And he hates bro culture. That is about the most bro answer to a very serious question from a fan in front of people.
And it's worth mentioning too.
Gloria would be so proud.
And Jason Schreier mentioned it in Twitter, and DJ Phil Collins in our chat mentions that he remembers hearing about this sort of stuff in forums back when Activision first merged with Blizzard. That seems like this has been going on the whole time. And even on Jason Schreier's Twitter, he mentions that Blizzard's cultural issues have existed long before Activision started interfering with their developing operations and driving people out. So this is kind of the culture of Blizzard.
Decades in the making.
Maybe I'm getting a little like far out of like the scope for this, but this is why all of this stuff is super important, like the feminist movement and stuff like that. Like it gets co-opted a lot by other things, but having women, like they have been in this situation for 20 plus years. They have not had the chance or the voice to speak out till 2021. Like this should have been handled when it happened the first time. And instead we're handling it 20 years later, and that's fucked up. That is simply fucked up.
And more the fact that like the company itself seems incapable of even recognizing that it's a problem, that it has to take
Exactly.
the government stepping in.
Right. That it's so bad that the government has to step in. I am going to say it, and no, I don't think this. I don't really care if it's an unpopular opinion. You all can go fuck yourself if you think it's if you think it's a bad idea. This would not be happening if there were more women in executive roles at game companies. Period.
At least ones who didn't feel their job would be in a position of danger.
If you had more CEOs that wouldn't be in danger, that are under contract, that you would not have this problem. This is decades in the making that this happened, but it started when games became a boys' club, which is not how games were originally done. It became a marketing ploy in the 80s.
It's interesting, like you say 80s, like I grew up in the 90s when it was very much, the boys' club. And what's interesting is that the culture of gaming seems to have moved on from that in a lot of ways, but the actual studios are still very much mired in it.
Well, I mean, give it another 20 years, because if you consider like what you just for that to be truly out, consider what you just said. In the 90s, and even when I grew up, it was considered a boys' culture. So when I grew up, when you grew up, it was, I wanted to get into gaming because that was a boys' space. So now you have like 35 to 40-year-olds who were in leadership positions.
Yeah, who grew up with that mentality.
And those people will be cycled out. And that's what I mean by give it another 20 years where like those people
will be cycled out unless they are left in these positions, and that they foster in this the people that are like touching women and going on these cube crawls are learning the culture. They're being inculcated with how things are done at these companies, and it just perpetuates itself. It's like a wagon wheel. It just keeps going around and around. It will not stop unless there are more women in high-level executive positions at these companies. And no matter how you dress these guys up in suits, they will not get it. And they will not. When you have companies like Ubisoft and Blizzard, Blizzard, that's a community. The whole culture of the community is very much women. Women have been in that game since day one as players. And yet, from almost the beginning, that culture was being fostered in the company level. You will only get rid of that when you have not more women, fewer men running these companies.
And I think that a lot of people are like, people who don't understand or don't have empathy for these women will say shit like, well, why didn't you quit? If this shit was happening, why didn't you leave? This is wrong on so many levels, because starting off, if you leave, it just reinforces that culture. So any women who do get a job there, it's so much worse for them. And from the start, this shouldn't be a thing to begin with. But then you take for the fact that Blizzard is one of the best companies,
it's the top. It's what these women who have been working, people, all of them, have worked their whole lives to get to that pinnacle.
I mean, you can also make a very solid argument that, for a long time, Blizzard has kind of been on the downfall.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not hold the company in the same regard that they did in the 90s. And you could make an argument that this is a result of that toxic culture, that eventually, it starts to drag down the things they make.
Mm-hmm.
It's also sad that
and it's all, and the whole why didn't you leave? Because it's fucking illegal.
Yeah.
If your boss is regularly shooting other employees in the fucking face, then that's kind of illegal too, because it's fucking illegal. It shouldn't be they're still not asking for it by going to Blizzard. They shouldn't. Yeah. It is fucking illegal to do.
Yeah, from the very top, it is not on the responsibility of the female employee to leave because of this shit.
Because she doesn't want to be sexually harassed.
Knowing that Blizzard's like the top, like that's where you want to be if you get into gaming. Like you want to go to some place like Blizzard, but where else do you go? Do you go to Ubisoft? Because I mean, that's a
do you go to
different flavor
Riot?
of shit.
Yeah.
Like, if your response to this is you need to leave and protect yourself, you need to fuck off. Like, this needs to change from the ground up. It's not on the women to have this culture changed.
Right.
Like,
it's the same. That is the same argument of, oh, you were sexually assaulted. What were you wearing? It's that same mentality.
That just angered me, so I wanted to bring it up.
I'm not even putting it up there.
Okay. Okay.
Nope.
No.
Don't you wish you were still a co-host so you could pull that shit?
Bringing this up to the last thing that I wanted to mention about the story was the ex-Blizzard boss, Mike Moraine.
Right.
And his open letter that says to women, I have failed you. Now, consider me jaded at this point. In his article, he mentions that, I'm paraphrasing here, that he knew there was problems like any corporation, but he thought he was fostering an environment where people could step forward and that it was a wholesome working environment for everyone. And he left in 2018, so he has not been gone long.
Okay, I was just
in fact, that's when, if you think about it, that's about when the investigation started. So it was at the end of his tenure was when the state started investigating, which means that there were complaints from his years that prompted the investigation.
The exact quote, for one of his exact quotes, to the Blizzard women who experience any of these things, I'm extremely sorry that I failed you. I hear you, I believe you, and I'm sorry to have let you down. I'm at the point, especially with gaming companies like this, hearing that this has been a problem for 20 years. Fuck off. If you didn't hear about this, you didn't want to hear about this.
He did hear about it. There were this particular comment. Well, I'll let you continue on, but it caused women, current and former women of Blizzard, to go onto Twitter to say, I emailed you. I emailed you about what was going on with me. I told you and was told that it was inappropriate that I contact you about this.
And yeah, I mean, that's my point. He didn't want to hear about this. And I take any former boss of a culture this bad and say, this is on you. You don't get to say sorry after having left. Mm-hmm. You are just as responsible for any harm that happened to the women and under your employ during the entire run while you were their CEO. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And yeah, just eat shit, dude. I'm very angry about this.
Especially now, this goes back. Wait.
Nick,
like,
you're a robot.
Yep, you're a robot all of a sudden. Oops, sorry.
That is a nice freeze frame of your face. All right.
Looking good.
Am I okay?
No, not at all.
Come on then.
Sounds like you're auto-tuning your voice.
That's not singing.
You've gone all GLaDOS on us.
Yes, that's not great.
Yeah, here's his comment. I have read the full complaint against Activision Blizzard and many of the other stories. It is all very disturbing and difficult to read. I am ashamed. I feel like everything I thought I stood for has been washed away. What's worse and even more important, real people have been harmed and some women have had terrible experiences. I tried very hard to create an environment that was safe and welcoming for people of all genders and backgrounds. I knew it was not perfect, but clearly we are far from that goal. The fact that so many women were mistreated and not supported means we let them down. In addition, we did not succeed in making it feel safe for people to tell the truth. And it is no consolation that other companies have faced similar challenges. I wanted us to be different, to be better.
It's
a bit hollow considering that after releasing this letter to Blizzard women came back and said, yeah, would you like to see the email where I literally told you that someone had threatened to assault me and I was afraid for my life?
It also rings a little hollow when we know that this has been going on in Blizzard for years. Like, this is not new. This is not
He was
a
with them
thing from
28 years.
Activision.
So.
Yeah, that this culture started under him and only grew worse.
Yeah.
It is. I can't. I thought that my anger at a developer over this had reached the pinnacle when I read the report on Ubisoft.
Well, I mean,
I did not understand how deep this would go.
Activision Blizzard's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. Ubisoft is, who's most relieved about all of this right now? Is Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's not just us. It's like, that, which is kind of a sad situation. Yeah, it looks like you too, huh?
See,
there's the Me Too movement. Me Too. We got hit with sexual harassment as well.
I feel like what makes this kind of worse, and this is purely like an emotional response to this, is you take someone like EA. If this had come out about EA, I'm pretty sure everyone would just be like, yeah, we kind of get it. But Blizzard, even after all the shit they've done over the last 5 years that have totally stripped their credibility with fans, it still holds a place in people's hearts as being their childhood gaming company. The place they heard all of the beautiful things about when they were a kid. Like, this was the ideal gaming company. They produced amazing games. They let creators have their freedom. This is you growing up. This is you seeing that they were never like that.
Yeah, this is meeting your heroes and seeing Oz behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's like why Cyberpunk was as disastrous as it was, because everyone sort of held CD Projekt in such high regard that when they put out a bad game, it hit extra hard in this cultural way. And yeah, Blizzard, people still respect Blizzard, and so to hear that a lot of this is coming from their end makes it a much bigger deal.
Yeah, and there have been repercussions within World of Warcraft. There was a sit-in within the game, and although that sounds kind of counterintuitive, to protest the company by going into the company's game to protest. A lot of those people, and it was apparently quite big, a lot of those people had left the game, but they were sublocked because they paid for ahead of time, like paid for the year or paid for the month. So they were sublocked until that period of time was over and their membership lapsed. So during that sublock period, that was when a lot of players have left World of Warcraft over these allegations because they are so more egregious than anybody could have believed possible.
Okay, so I kind of have a question here, and it's I'm not sure why I land on this. When you read something about this, when you learn that this is a wide problem in the gaming industry, how do you handle this as a consumer? Do you choose to boycott the company, knowing that, like, yeah, this is a shitty culture, but like those people, those women who are a part of this culture put work into these games, they put love and effort, like, you're also not supporting their work, their efforts as well.
Right. It's a hard position to be put into. I honestly don't know. I'm not going to feel good buying an Activision game. I am not going to feel good about ever playing. I mean, there was a minute there where I thought, maybe I'll go back to WoW. I will never go back to WoW. Not until I know that this is better. So it's an easy decision for me. I don't know about if we just let profits continue on as they are. then what we are perpetrating is exactly what the CEOs did. A slap on the hand, a bunch of accepting of hollow words of either apologies or denials, and then letting things be business as usual, bros as usual, because they're still making money.
That's what I was
We
about
have
to say.
to. It's even if there are women that are putting their love and heart and soul into this, the company has to see a dollars and cents repercussion from this from the consumers, so that they know that not only is the state after you and you're facing a real bad penalty, that you will also be hampering your own profits.
It reminds me when Red Dead 2 came out and there were reports about everyone being horribly overworked with crunch. A lot of employees came out on Twitter saying, please still buy the game, because we did put in a lot of work into it. Even if we were overworked, we're proud of what we did. Please buy the game. I do feel like this is a different situation.
Yeah.
And I can only speak for myself, but honestly, like, I can't remember the last time I bought a Ubisoft or Activision game.
Yeah.
Like, other than Activision published Sekiro a couple years ago.
An Ubisoft game?
Yeah.
Didn't you buy Valhalla?
I got it for Christmas.
Yeah, well then somebody bought that game for you.
But like, I can only speak for myself. Neither of those companies in a good many years have put out a game that I thought, yeah, that looks awesome. I need to get that. Maybe it says something about the culture, like everything they put out has just kind of seemed meh, but a lot of that is also just for me personally. I mean, I cannot buy Call of Duty all I want, but that's not going to change the fact that Call of Duty is regularly going to be the thing that keeps Activision afloat.
Yeah.
Oh, even not Call of Duty, even just the mobile games.
Right.
I'm wondering how bad something like, because I mean, something
there's
AC,
only so much you can do by not buying their product,
and that's something AC Wraith just mentioned. Not sure what to do when it's so widespread. Like we know of Ubisoft, of Activision, but what do we do? Like if we learn EA has these same problems, BioWare.
I'm sure
games.
EA has these same problems. I'm not so sure about BioWare, but maybe it is entirely possible. We are seeing our heroes for what they are. And like, it may be that we have to, I hate to say it, we may have to walk away from an industry for a while until they get their shit together.
I was thinking about that for a moment, about EA. Like, Ubisoft, Activision, EA are kind of like the big three that don't have consoles. And part of me is like, I wonder if this is happening at EA, or I wonder if like people need to just reevaluate the generalized hate of EA and recognize that maybe it might be one of the best big publishers to work for, just because there isn't rampant sexual harassment.
In an idealistic
they apparently
universe,
hand out free FIFA cards.
In the ideal universe, they are so corporate and so like just churn the wheels and make profit that they don't want any scandals like that. So they have like systems in place to actually handle it, not because they care, but because it's a corporate thing of not wanting to have what's happening to Blizzard right now do it.
Oh, honestly, because like it has happened to EA in the past, and maybe they've gotten over it.
Yeah, there's only a couple of ways that any company is ever going to change, and it's not with the revelations and the pearl clutching from consumers. They have to see a dip in profits, and they have to see massive governmental penalties that hurt on the level where they go, ooh, we don't want to do this, because if this happens, if it's this, it's going to be a lot of money.
If it's strike two and it's more, we're fucked. Like,
right. It has to be on a level of like, holy shit, this could bankrupt us.
And
or in a situation like Ubisoft, where it's not direct money, but it is the fact that they're kind of hemorrhaging a lot of talent. Like that does affect them financially in a different way, but it's still, that seems to be the big impetus of change, because they're just losing people like that.
Well, I mean, even what we heard though, Ubisoft over the last year hasn't had meaningful change.
Despite
lip
all of their
service.
a lot of lip
And that's
service.
why people are leaving.
Yeah,
And so it feels like now, like, oh shit, people are leaving over this. Okay, maybe we should actually.
it sucks for me because this is a society problem of just the culture of money, right? Simply capitalism with this kind of stuff, where it's profit driven. Like, if you lose talent, the only reason you change is to not lose talent so you don't lose money. The only way, like, you change the culture at Blizzard, a sit-in doesn't work. Everyone needs to log off WoW and crash the game.
Right.
That'll stop it. Like, there is no incentive other than money incentive for
Right.
change.
Yeah.
Nobody cares as long as you're making money.
And that's kind of what led
it's got to
to
be
this.
something that has a money attached to it. They'd have no shame, clearly. I mean, to the point of where Mike Morhaime, for all his flowery words, and then all of the subsequent revelations from employees on Twitter that said, hey, yeah, this happened under you for years and you knew. He walked away in 2008 to start his own game company called Dreamhaven, that it was supposedly, I mean, the founding principles on paper are finding a diverse and supportive environment. Meanwhile, is by Mike Morhaime, who let this happen on his watch.
And like, if he holds none of like the direct responsibility for doing it, he has a shitload of responsibility as the caretaker for the people under him.
And the thing is, I don't doubt that he is sorry. And I don't doubt that he started his new game company thinking that he wanted to create a diverse and supportive environment. It is so ingrained in the industry that people don't even realize it is not supportive. They don't even accept. It doesn't cross their minds that it is illegal.
And
that's how ingrained it is.
If he saw a problem and he left to go make this company to make a diverse and inclusive like company, what were you doing at Blizzard? Like,
exactly. How could you possibly be trusted to create a diverse company when you were helming the ship that was literally had women keel hauled the whole way?
And you left without changing anything. You let it sink.
Without changing.
Yeah.
You let all those people suffering knowing exactly what's going on because you thought you'd rather create something that you profited from over trying to fix the thing people were hurting.
Right.
Even taking his words and apologies at face value, it just represents like a blind spot so big that, the very question of leadership, even if everything he says is 100% true from his point of view, that just means that he's a very bad boss.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's all bad, and I'm gonna. I mean, you know me. I'm gonna be watching this like a hawk, and I'm not the only one. As much as it may sound that I'm being a shrill woman on this, fuck you for thinking that, but that I am by far nowhere near as mad as a lot of people out in the YouTubeverse, a lot of game commentators, both men and women. There are a lot of people that are horribly pissed about this, and I'm not even in the top 10.
The thing that hurts me is that I know that in a couple months, actually I'm not sure if it's a couple months, but Blizzard 2 or Diablo 2 Remastered is coming out. It is coming out relatively soon. Yeah. It will do well. All of this shit means nothing. Diablo 2 will do well because it is that game.
Right.
Because it is old Blizzard's
and that's how that culture has been allowed to perpetuate, because there's never any repercussions for anybody for breaking the fucking law. And in this case, someone losing her life voluntarily over this.
Yeah. It's a shame. There's no overarching like message here other than that's obvious is don't be a fucking asshole. Like this is not okay. This will never be okay. and the
I mean,
people who need to change are the people in charge, not
If
the
there, if
people.
there is
separate.
one reassuring thing, it's the fact that this is a lawsuit announced by the state. I think Blood Reaper in the chat mentioned a while ago, you can't pay off the state.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah, there is no settlement payoff, sending it to arbitration.
yeah.
You need to
So
change.
this isn't something that they're just able to sweep under the rug like a lot of companies can do in this situation. So
Yeah.
it's unique in that regard, in that there's actual teeth behind this reporting. That could lead to substantial change and not just, slap on the wrist and pretty words.
Right. And along the same lines of me calling for more women CEOs, this is not the only company. It's probably the worst I've ever read, but this is not the only company, and not in not just the game industry, that has, I don't want to say turned it around, but certainly addressed the issue straight on. And for example, Uber got rid of its incredible bro culture CEO, took him out and replaced him with a woman. And I have not heard a single peep from them saying that that's not happening now. But it certainly appears that they did absolutely everything they could. And it meant removing one of the co-founders of Uber and kicking them the fuck out.
True. Although Uber is still a terrible company.
Uber's still a terrible company. I
All of
won't
us
use them.
care.
All the gig companies.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different conversation.
It is a whole different
And not a gaming
conversation.
one.
Yeah.
What we're learning is that the big industries suck. Fuck them.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a sad state of affairs, but inevitably, if you get a lot of white men in the same room, bad things are going to happen. Then add women, bad things happen. It's just the way things are, unless somebody comes in and knocks everybody down a peg.
Not that I typically am not happy with like how centralized things can get on like social media, but these are the instances where I think like Twitter, Facebook, stories like these get the chance to explode, and they get the chance for like, it's not just WoW forums that these are popping up on now. Everyone is hearing about this because of stuff like Twitter.
Right.
And it's one of those times where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of glad social media is here.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad that.
As long as it's not what everybody feels that they need. Like, you've had your moment. You got to say it on Twitter.
Yeah.
No, my moment is that it stops happening. That's what needs to happen. The Twitter is just the pathway. There needs to be an end zone where actually there is change. And I have yet to see any of these stories, whether it be with Riot, whether it be with Ubisoft, and now with this one, with Blizzard, that there's been substantive change. There's been a lot of people who have said, absolutely, this is happening. It's horrible. It's horrible. It needs to stop. It's illegal. And it's never changed.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from Riot in a while. And I don't know if that's because they've just kept a lid on it, or because it's actually changed.
It ain't because they fixed it, baby. You know that, and I know that.
Shout out to our longtime fan, Jason Schreier. Thanks for doing such great work as a reporter. I know you watch the show.
Yeah.
But for real, like a real shout out to him. Like, him in this industry is, I think, amazing because he's one of the few people that I can like, hey, look, that's a real reporter who just happens to focus on video game culture. And
he's the first one that well, he's also someone that has unbelievable sources and does a good job of not just posting it because it was explosive. He actually backgrounds all this stuff really fucking well.
That's what I mean by being an actual reporter. Like, the people give him that information because they trust him. And I think if he was not here, the corporation environment that exists would be much worse.
And that actually reminds me, I was listening to the Waypoint podcast recently, and they were talking about this. And one of the guys on there, Patrick Kleptic, is also a reporter. He has done a lot of good reporting on the industry for a while on similar subjects like this. But one of the things he brought up is that one of the facts that makes this being a lawsuit brought by the state so unique is that you get a lot of those, you get more details than you would otherwise, because one of the things that reporters run into is that we can't corroborate this story that the woman told us, therefore we can't put it in the story because then we might get sued. Like, there's a lot of stuff. He mentioned something like, when you see this happen in a reporting article on something like Kotaku or Polygon or things like that, there's a lot more that goes into it that's not reported because they just can't add it because there's issues of lawsuits going on. Because this is itself a lawsuit brought by the state, you get a lot more of those dirty details that you wouldn't have otherwise. So
Right.
even if you have the best reporter working for the best company reporting on this in a journalistic way, you still wouldn't get what you've learned from this lawsuit.
And a lot of the documents, even the filings, might be private filings in a civil case that aren't subject to disclosure. But because these were filings that would be made by the state, because it is a public entity, their documents are all public.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah, this is the start. Like, there will be way more about this.
the book
in the coming
has to be
months.
the book has to be thrown at this company, because if the state does not throw the book at this company and does not do it in such a way that it physically hurts the company in a way that it becomes a deterrent, then there truly is no hope for the industry.
Yeah.
That's my greatest fear, is that they get let off, or it is a fine or something that isn't substantive enough that they can't make it up with 2 months of profits. If it's something along those lines, then it means that this can happen with absolute impunity. It's the downside. That's the danger of this.
Yeah.
We'll definitely keep an eye on it, and of course we're going to report on it because
Yep.
this shit is wild.
This shit is wild. So, what else do you have? Do I have anything else?
I feel like that personally. I feel like it's a good.
I
endpoint.
have
Is-
one last thing for you.
I think
and
there's
you can
one
ride
other
the headline.
story that's worth talking about, I think.
All right,
Okay.
so
I
your
have.
story and then my story. Hopefully yours is quick. Mine is very quick, and I need AC Wraith to be involved with it.
Okay. Mine is that Netflix has announced they want to get into gaming. And this isn't necessarily new. Like, they actually have some Telltale games on their service. They've got the Minecraft game on there. They've got the Bandersnatch, interactive movie. But what's interesting is they have specifically mentioned they want to get into mobile games. They basically want to make it so that you can play some mobile games through the Netflix app on your phone. They're not talking about making an MMO or a MOBA or some other $200 million expensive thing.
They're doing something doable.
Yes, which makes me not give them the side eye in the same way like Google and Amazon, because it feels like they are not overreaching.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to make there are already mobile games of Stranger Things. I've played one. One's actually kind of okay. If you just make that playable within the app, that, like I said, that doesn't feel like an overreach.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also an example of knowing where your base is. Like, there's lots of things that people watch Netflix on, but I mean, if you have a phone, if you're watching your Netflix on your phone, popping into a game is a pretty easy transition.
And one of the interesting things they mentioned is that they've explicitly said that these would be games that are free, that are part of the Netflix subscription, because it's purely about adding value to that subscription, because they don't want you to cancel.
Because they've been losing a lot of good movies.
If they make little mobile games akin to the Google games, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Get the Google developers to make them. They know
We'll
how
see
to make
what
some good games. All right, my last thing, and this is why I have to bring AC Wraith into it. Frat House being sued.
That's a good one.
Best
That's a really
comment today is from Alan Kaspar, who says Frat House being sued for Activision Blizzard style culture.
good one. That's fantastic.
Maybe
All right.
that's how we get them to change the cultures. They just become the new definition. Oh yeah, it's like Blizzard. Oh
Right,
yeah,
it's right.
It's
It's
a
like
Blizzard
the
style
gaming
culture.
industry.
Blizzard style culture.
Yeah.
So AC Wraith, you confirm or deny? I believe you were going to confirm this. That Nick and I have a bet, and I think Andrew might be on it too, of when Dragon Age 4 will come out. We have that bet, do we not?
No, I have. I have
no,
a bet
we
about
have-
Skyrim or Elder Scrolls.
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
got.
right.
I have my fucking sticky note. I made it, and it's in my computer. I will not lose this sticky note.
That's we didn't have anything about Dragon Age 4?
No, that was for Elder Scrolls.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then this is not so important then. But unless you were like me and a huge Elder Scrolls fan, sources have been quoted. Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat and formerly, actually, I think he's still at Giant Bomb's Grub Snacks.
Yeah, he started a new show on there called Grub Snacks.
Okay, so he's got sources that say that Dragon Age 4 is on track to come out in 2023.
That's
Despite
true.
all of the setbacks that they've had by starting and stopping and scrapping old projects and stuff like that.
2 years.
And they said, of course, part of the reason why for the long development time was a change in direction of the project, which is, from what I heard, something of a shame because the original project was that they had going was really, really good. But then somebody came in saying, nah, we want it more orange.
More origins.
Yeah, no, I was sorry.
Hey, if-
It wasn't more origins, meant orange. That was a running joke within the sound industry. When you're like working on sound on a movie, and then the director comes in and hears the sound, and he's like, "It's good, but can you make it more orange?"
I wanted to just call back for a goalie. Just Dragon Age oranges.
Oranges.
I can't even say it wrong.
Right, Dragon Age oranges.
I mean, okay, full honesty, if they want to make this game more like Origins, I think that's
Yeah.
the best because that's honestly the best Dragon Age.
It is.
They've only gone downhill since then.
It's graphically is the only thing that it doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
And it's
Gameplay a
beginning
little bit.
section. Gameplay was a little bit draggy, but that's about it. Anyway, EA reportedly decided to remove all the multiplayer from the game, which also delayed it. And they ditched the live service elements that they were considering.
These are all good things.
I
as
know.
far as I'm concerned.
I know. So yeah, they figured out after Anthem and its shit show that they can't do that. And I think that that's sort of what they had is they were working on Dragon Age Oranges. They were working on Dragon Age 4. And then somebody came in and said, we need to make it live service. And then Anthem came out and they're like, we need to not make it live service. No, go back. So
Yeah.
that is where all of the delays are coming from. I am willing to wait as long as it takes, as long as they don't ship me a shitty game. I'm willing to wait. But if they make me wait and then they deliver me a shitty game, I will be pissed.
Let us reship Dragon Age 2.
It will be
No, just do an HD remake of Origins.
God.
Don't
Yeah.
give any of this
If
bullshit.
they did an HD remake of Origins and kind of cleaned up the like first section of the game, like your opening scenes, and not make them a 2-hour slog, I would
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely be fine with that.
Keep all of that. I'm fine. Just keep all
I
of
actually
that.
really loved how in Dragon Age oh my god, Origins.
See, I found it's 2 syllables. Isn't it 2 syllables? Origins. It's not Origins.
No, it's Origins.
Origins.
Origins. It's because
Yeah, Origins
the
is
fan
a
fiction
2-syllable
book-
word.
not even fan. The book, the fantasy book came out.
Fantasy book.
Yeah. The original David Geider fantasy book came out and they handed it out when they were announcing the game. So David Geider wrote a book, and then the game, if you read the book before the game came out, then when you got the game, you realized this was the origins of the characters in the book.
Oh, really?
That's why it's called Dragon Age Origin.
Okay. Well,
I
I'm
didn't
just
know
saying
that at all.
specifically, like,
The book is
Or-
great, by the way. The book
I'm
is
just saying,
amazing.
like, to mix it up, like, origin is a 2-syllable word, not a 3-syllable word.
I think it's a 3-syllable word. Who knows?
No, it's 2.
Origins.
No, origin. Origins. That's how you say it. It's 2 syllables.
According to
According to
the
Merriam-Webster, origin. Or is it origin? Is it 3 syllables? Is that
Yes.
why?
Hold on a second.
pronunciation has
Dictionary.
3
I'm
syllables.
pulling.
'Cause
I
I
am
feel like
pulling it up
what
right
makes it
now.
so difficult. That's what makes it easy to mix up with oranges.
Origins.
Hey, you little-
Origin.
stop it.
See right here? Right here?
Okay, well, see then, if you
Origin.
just pronounce it with 2 syllables instead, and you won't make that mistake.
Origins.
Yeah.
Origins.
Origin.
Anyways, I actually really loved in that game the opening, like how many of the opening tutorials were based off of like your race and your class. Like you could be a noble human and you had your own opening. You were like a dwarf, you had your own opening. If you were a mage, you had the same opening. But
You were a human
That's
mage. You were
cool.
one opening. You were a human
elf.
elf, and then you could
Human
decide of whether your origin was, are you a noble, are you a commoner, or
Yeah.
are you so that it became all of these different, like it started with all the trees.
I like that a lot.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah. I
And
don't know.
it opened up things at the end. If you were not a noble, you couldn't marry Alistair. The best that you could hope for.
You want to marry Alistair?
Yeah,
It was
he was kind of
usually-
a what rag.
Are you kidding, Alistair?
I know, that's why I'm saying it.
Alistair and Caden are my 2 heartthrobs
God,
from games.
no.
I know you
Caden.
hated
Oh.
both of them, and I love them both. But for example, Alistair, because he becomes, well, if you play it right, he becomes the king. If he becomes the king, and you make those decisions that he becomes the new king, and you are not a noble, you cannot be the queen. If you are a commoner, then you can be his side action.
Edie, I'm sorry, you played it wrong if he became the king. I am just gonna be honest with you. He should not be the king. You have
He
played
was
it
a great
wrong.
king. He was a
I
wonderful
honestly
king.
don't remember his story.
And it carries over into the next game, into 2. If you had it their gameplay where he became the king, then he comes to visit you as the king at the beginning of Origins 2 of Dragon Age 2, which
If
was
you
kind of a
don't-
nice throwback.
If you don't, you actually find him regardless later in a bar getting drunk, bitching about the hero. Like he took my throne, he betrayed me. I'm like, you whiny bitch.
No, it's a great idea. I wish the 2 had been a good enough game because it had a lot of cool things in it. It just was not a good story.
Yeah.
Dragon
Nice.
Age organs.
Organs.
Now that they finished the Mass Effect remake,
There we
they
go.
can
Thank you
work
for
on
the Dragon Age
Age
series.
remake.
There you go. There's the Dragon Age series right there. You can actually read the books under Goodreads. All right. So that was an epic episode, as the last couple have been.
All of our episodes are epic. Edie, what do you mean? Especially the ones that I'm a part of.
True. Thank you for being here. You know what? Let's get this banner off there. All right. So let me hit a couple of housekeeping banners and bits of information for you. First off, don't forget, we do have a website, gamehounds.net. You can always visit that, see what we're doing, see what the latest show is. That's where the audio, if you want to listen to stream the audio from like a browser, you can. It's all posts right there. First time. It's easy to do. Also, do want to remind you of Patreon account. We do have a Patreon account. It supports the video stream. All of the video costs for doing this. It is not free. It is supplied by you. Thank you to all of our patrons. We only ask for $1 a month, which is, if you think about it, 25 cents a show. When you have 3-hour show, we're talking like, less than 10 cents an hour is what we make between the 3 of us. But your donations through Patreon support us being able to pay for all of the infrastructure that allows for the video. Thank you to the patrons. I just paid the bill on this system, and it was so nice that I didn't have to use my own money this time in order to make it happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, don't forget, we are live on Twitch, on YouTube, and we do have our Discord. Feel free to jump in our Discord anytime. We are absolutely there. We do respond. We've got great rooms, including disgusting supermarket food funds.
I think it's worth mentioning. Blood Reaper posted in there something, I'm not sure what it is. It might be Krispy Kreme glazed donut chips.
Oh, gross.
It's something it's a bag in the chip aisle that says Krispy Kreme donuts, and I don't know what's inside because I can't tell from the bag.
So yeah, it's not just about gaming. It's actually other cool stuff. Also, game deals. AC Wraith posts really good game deals in there.
I think there's a lot of news that gets posted there that we don't mention here, and also a lot of the news posted there is more lighthearted and fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Less.
Yes.
RAPEY.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
pizza
also,
controllers and crazy horses.
And I want to take a moment to say thank you to AC Wraith. He is amazing. I don't know, you probably do if you're watching live, but if you're not watching live, you might not recognize that AC Wraith, all of the links, whenever we mention anything, I could mention IKEA chairs, and he will post a link to IKEA chairs. I can guarantee you he's doing that right now, hunting down the product page for the IKEA chairs. We mentioned something, he posted in on Spreaker, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch simultaneously. The man is a god.
I honestly thought he had a program that like scoured the net for it. No, it's his fingers. He just types it out. And he's like,
he types it out. He copy pastes it, types it out.
chairs.
Yep. IKEA chairs. There we go. All you have to do is mention anything. AC Wraith, you are truly sometimes the gas in the GameHounds engine that keeps this thing going. And he has already posted it to Twitch. He's now posting it to YouTube. He's about to post it to Facebook. And then I will see it on Spreaker as well in the live chat, which means it goes into the comments. Thank you, AC Wraith.
if
You
we
are
ever make
so
money
wonderful.
from this, you'll probably get some at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I ever become a millionaire, I am like gonna show my love to you. Trust me. So have a great week.
Yes.
Let's anything else before we close this out?
Just worth saying, breaking news that the Krispy Kreme flavored stuff is popcorn. Blood Reaper in the chat has said it's popcorn.
That makes it
Krispy
worse.
Kreme glazed donut flavored.
There's no popcorn on the bag. There's a piece of corn.
But it's smart food. There's also like potatoes. It looks like, I don't know. That makes it so. It looks like a bag of chips. It's next to a bag of chips. It looks like a donut.
Next to a bag of
but
Cheetos.
It's popcorn.
Share that shit. Share that shit. I want to see this.
Oh, I can't share the screen because Discord is another app.
No, you can share. Do you not know how to use this?
Discord is a separate app.
Fuck me. I am going to show you. How do you think I showed you the headline? At the beginning of the show.
I guess. Oh, that's right. You can share desktop.
All right. So no, you don't share the desktop. You share screen. You go to window. You pick Discord, and that happens.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've only ever gone to Chrome tab.
You can also click on the picture and open original. It'll just pop up into your browser of choice.
Right.
Yep. There it is.
Yeah. Who the fuck knows what's inside?
So yeah, it's smart food. Oh, it's popcorn. Smart food is popcorn.
Oh, who knows these things?
I do.
I don't.
Yeah, Smart Food is a popcorn brand, and then they have Krispy Kreme donuts, Krispy Kreme original glazed donut flavored Smart Food. That is gross. That is all kinds of disgusting. That makes I have only had breakfast today. It is now at 9:00 this morning. It is 5:30. My stomach is growling And all of a sudden, it's like stopped mid growl when I said
I think
that.
it's time to go. I have to go to the store anyway. So
Yes. All right.
You
So
got to pick up some of that popcorn.
oh yeah,
You saw it and you're like, oh shit, I need to get some.
so good.
get out of my way. No. Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 603. We did record this on Sunday, July 25th, 2021. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith. Yes, I almost said that name. Holy golly. Our website, gamehounds.net. We mentioned it. Please feel free to go there. We do post our latest audio file there. You can also reach us by getting a hold of us on email. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. If you ever want to listen to the show live, you can. It's super easy. All you do is go to Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. That's where the audio stream is. We record the show live every Sunday from 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's when it starts. It ends when it ends. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. Or you can actually watch us on our audio stream. Thank you to our patrons for making that audio stream possible. The video streams possible. The video streams can be found on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Facebook and Twitch, we are the GameHounds. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS, as in videos. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Alexa and Google devices. We'll both play it if you tell your Alexa or Google device to play GameHounds podcast. We are on Audible. We are on pretty much Stitcher. We're pretty much everywhere, but you just have to look up GameHounds Podcast and we'll be there. If you do listen to us as a podcast, please leave us feedback. We appreciate it. It makes it easier for other people to find us. And if you're watching us on either Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, hit the like. Let people know that you're liked. Trust me, it helps to find more. It gets us, more people listening. More people listening is good. If you like us, you want other people to listen to us, hit the like button. Thank you so much for listening to us. We will be back next week on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, here on anywhere pretty much you want to find us. You know where it is. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Andrew. Have a great week. That's it. Just a wave. All right.
Goodbye.
Talk to y'all.
Bye.
Talk to y'all later.
Come
Bye,
to the stream
everyone.
so that we can wave to you. Fine. We don't have to say anything.
Be safe. Wear your mask. Get a vaccine.
You want to come up here?
Ugh, and I'm starving. My company sent me food, so I haven't had to cook. I did cook once this week.
That's good.
I haven't had to cook for several days because my company sent me a care package, which was good because otherwise I wouldn't be taking care of myself. Yeah.
I will be
someone dies, send food. It makes a big difference.
I will be streaming again tonight if any of you are interested.
I'm totally interested. Stream it on the GameHounds channel.
But I have so many avid followers on my channel.
I am regularly the only person watching.
I need to go into Twitch and subscribe to you. That way I can easily find you
Right.
Yes.
on my TV.
But either way,
I have
stream it
Fishamon and
stream it on the
Sire.
GameHounds. Yep, stream it on GameHounds tonight, and we'll talk about this. Everybody in the chat room, thank you so much. And we will talk to you next week. Have a great week. Please go get yourself vaccinated if you haven't. The Delta variant, do not fuck with this one. Do not as much as I told you about how bad COVID was, don't fuck with this variant. It is not to be trifled with. If not for yourself, so that you don't spread it to somebody else. Okay. This is somewhat about you, but it's also about everybody else around you. Get the fucking vaccine if you haven't got it already. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.